How you doing? Good. Yeah, we're good. We good. Cool. How you doing?
Meet you. COVID, I know it's got to be 6 feet.
Yeah, 6 feet.
How you doing?
You guys Christians, I'm assuming? You know who we are. Come on. I know who you are. Why would you assume I know who you are? Are you famous?
Well, we showed up yesterday, and you guys here said that Sam said he was going to come by, and they're like, "Why you didn't come by earlier?"
You're Sam?
No, this is Sam.
Yeah, he's standing up for the camera. Yeah, who are you? Are you Uthman Rashid?
No, my name is Uthman.
Are you Osama Abdullah?
No, I don't know who that is.
Oh, okay.
He's joking. We know who you are.
Oh, you know who I am?
Yeah, we saw a video.
Oh, you're just being funny.
Yeah,
I like that.
He's not very good at it.
You're Hasumu.
He's not very good at it.
I'm not a sumo wrestler.
You're not Hasumu? What's your name?
That's Osama Shamoun.
Hasamu?
Yes, sir. Right.
Okay, I just want to get to know who you are, bro. Why you all...
We're good.
Whoa.
Hey.
Calm down.
I guess ask them.
I know, but you were acting like somebody was getting up to me. I think we're all able to have good conversations, right?
Yeah,
huh?
So you are...
All right.
David, I'm David.
David Wood. Yeah. Hammer Time. They call you Hammer Time, right?
No.
Yeah, some people do.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
That's
You do know.
I
We're
see.
good.
No, somebody told me about you.
Yeah,
so it's good to finally meet you.
Yeah.
Nice. You guys flew to San
You
Diego?
used to be a gangbanger down here in San Diego,
Oh,
right?
man, you know me.
What did they call you?
He was too.
What did they call you
I
down
don't know
here?
if I should be telling you, man.
Huh?
You were a gangbanger?
Well, they called him Hammer Time. What did they call you?
They called me Shooter.
Shooter. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. We're on even
Did you have
playing
a
field
nickname?
then. I was called Crook.
Crook?
Yeah.
Were you a crook?
Not here in San Diego.
He was a car thief.
Not here in San
What gang were you
Diego.
from?
I lived up in Orange County, but also ran around in Inglewood Mafia, those sorts of things.
Were you blood, crib, essay?
No, more of an essay type gang.
Cool.
But my background is Sicilian, just like I know you're Pakistani, right?
Yeah, Pashtun.
So we're both guys sort of out of our own water in a sense, but we
I feel
swam
you.
in different.
Yeah, that's cool. What's your name?
My name's Anthony.
Anthony. Nice to meet you.
I didn't watch
Yes,
So
so
are you guys Christian then, or Catholic?
yeah, I've seen one of your videos. You might have seen more, but I saw one video that popped up. It was because you mentioned Christian Prince.
Okay.
And it's where you said you challenged him to a debate. You said you debate anyone. So
Anyone.
we decided. We know Christian Prince is not going to come down there because he's not comfortable revealing his identity and stuff. But
I mean, you're here.
If we
else over here.
knew,
That's a good question for Christian friends, right? That I mean, you guys are here. Anybody harming you? Anybody attacking you?
I don't think that's the. I mean, I don't know. I couldn't speak
Is
for
he
it.
like on a sex registry somewhere? Like,
I
is
don't
there a
know.
problem with showing his face? I show my face. I don't have a problem.
I know a lot of sex
You're here.
offenders that show their face, but
Right. So why would he be ashamed of showing his face?
I don't know if that's the reason.
What do you think the reason is? Scared?
Maybe he's a professional business. I actually know some Muslims that are like this. A lot
Really?
of Muslims that they just don't want to.
Muslim debaters or YouTube guys? I think they all show their face.
I know quite a handful of people that just like to. This isn't. I'm not interested in becoming public figures per se, but they do like to engage the discussion.
All right.
I'm sure in their own
Good to
context.
see you back.
I'm sure in their own context they're known. You know, how could you not? You know, if you engage people, then you're going to be known, at least in your context. But they don't
Right,
want
but I
national attention.
I think every Muslim YouTube da'i shows their face. I don't know if any that don't, right? So I'm just
Well,
wondering
back
why.
in the day, for example, Yahya Snow.
I never heard of that name before in my life.
But I used to. I mean, I've been engaging people for at least 20 years.
Wow. So
So-
you got experience?
Well, that's not my point. My point is just I know Muslims who prefer not to, and that was just what it was. And I thought, okay.
So let me just get to know you as what kind of, because different kind of Christians, I was explaining to, we get all kinds here, right? And I've never watched any of your videos, so I don't know you. So I want to get to.
I am a Presbyterian pastor, so I'm a Reformed Christian.
So do you believe Jesus is God, or do you believe Jesus is the Son of God?
I think that's a false antithesis.
It's just a question.
In a Jewish,
That's
well,
what
yeah,
I
so
said.
the answer is it's a false
That's
antithesis.
not what you said, but okay.
In a Jewish context, to be the son of means to have the nature of, the one that you are the son of. And so in Christianity, the Son of God is by nature God.
Okay.
But without division, right? And so
Without
forth.
division. So they're the one.
They're one. They are absolutely one in their essence.
Okay, so God, Jesus is one.
Right. So they don't have parts, for example, as in Islam, where God has multiple parts
God doesn't
and
have parts.
attributes. So you don't believe Allah has a face?
Let me explain that to
But
you.
do you?
Can I?
Wait a minute.
You
told
asked
me
a
a minute
question.
ago.
Can I answer?
Yeah, you asked me a question a minute ago. Then you faulted me for not just directly answering.
I'm directly answering if you let
Okay.
me speak. Okay.
Face, eyes, hands.
You see
No,
this?
Let's just be
You see
clear.
this?
Let's just be clear with the
He's
question.
just clarifying the question.
Let's be clear with the question is, and then I'll let you talk. Face, eyes, hands, chin, foot, or feet. I don't know. Does he have those attributes, those qualities? And I'm not asking you to describe what those qualities
Are you done with your question?
My question is, does he have multiple attributes?
You see why you're not letting me answer, right?
He's
No.
not.
Thank you. So can
Please
I speak?
answer.
Okay, so as I listen to you, please listen to me, okay? Allah is one, undivisible, okay? Al-Ahad, He is the one that is one without two. Okay? He has sifat that are all His.
And sifat, for the camera's
Can I
sake?
finish?
Hold on,
I'll
sifat,
explain
define.
it. No, I don't need you to define it for me. Thank you.
I'm asking you to.
I will.
Okay.
See, when I asked you to let me speak, you interrupted me again. But if you just let me, don't be insulting towards me. Let me speak.
You're being insulting. All I'm asking you to do is
Am
define
I
for
being
the
insulting or
camera.
am I trying to answer here?
Well,
Would? Am I
just
trying
go-
to answer? Or
Yeah,
am I
fine.
being
I think you just want to. A lot of basically a lot
if you
of
want
your.
my answer, you have
you're-
to listen to my
yeah, but
answer.
Yeah, I'm
You're
just
using-
explaining what he's saying.
you're
A lot
using-
of your viewers are going to be familiar with terms that our viewers might not
I'll
be familiar with.
explain it
he
if
was
you
just
let me.
asking. Yeah, so good.
So you need to know. I need you to explain it.
When you speak, I'm going to listen. When I speak, you can listen.
So you were
And
gonna-
then if you would like to get a clarification
So you-
after,
you were
again, look at this, right?
I already know-
He doesn't want me to speak.
We've already agreed to this.
Let your audience see this.
We've already agreed
that
to
you
this.
won't let me
This man
speak.
won't tell us what sifat
I will
are.
if you listen. Okay.
Go ahead.
If you
Sifat.
need a clarification afterwards, please wait for me to let finish and then ask me to clarify. Is that understandable? Can we have a civil
So
discussion
you were going to
here?
tell us about
There we
sifat.
go again.
What I need to learn here.
You just asked me
Okay.
a question and answered.
Your own buddy is telling you let him answer, bro. Let him.
I want to hear what he said.
Thank you.
I'm anxious.
Thank you. At least you want to hear it. Okay. So when you talk about sifat, they are of Allah's characteristics. They're not divisible. You cannot take the hand away from the face. They are all part of Allah. Okay?
Part?
Yes.
You want to come on?
Okay? Sifat are characteristics. You understand? For example, this is a gentleman named David, right? Now, this is your face, this is your hand, this is one. If I cut your hand off, it will not exist anymore, right? Because that is now cut off from your body, right? This is you. Understand? Allah has sifat that are not like humans. They're not like us. لَيْسَ كَمِثْلِهِ شَيْءٍ. But He has sifat that He told us about in the Quran and upon the lisan of the Prophet. Now let me explain those words. Allah has characteristics that He has explained in His holy book, the Quran, and upon the tongue of His Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. But He is one. He's not divisible. He doesn't become into parts, not Legos. That is not the way it works in Islam. Okay? Now, any terms you didn't understand?
No,
Anthony?
I understood the terms, and I
Okay,
thank you
just wanna
for
be clear.
defining them for the sake of the audience. But
Excellent.
here's my question. At one point you said he has sifat. These are attributes, characteristics, parts of him.
Yep.
They're inseparable from him.
Yep.
But you referred to them as parts. So do you believe
I
that
did
Allah,
not.
you did use the term
I
parts?
said
You said they're a
sifat.
part.
I'll
You
let
said they're
you-
a part of
they're
it.
a part of Him.
Okay, so you did use that term.
Sure, we will
Okay.
say sifat.
So you would grant that at least in that sense, that Allah is not absolutely one. You don't mean He's absolutely one in the sense that He has no attributes. He has attributes.
You want me to respond?
Yes.
You see how I listen to you respectfully without interrupting
You don't
you?
need to do that. Go
No,
ahead.
no, I do need
Go
to do
ahead.
that
We're
because
past that.
No,
past
we're
that.
not because you already interrupted.
There you go again. Come
So
on.
the
Are you gonna
sifat of look at this.
Look at this. Come on, guy.
Your own friend is telling you be quiet, man.
He's
Listen.
begging you to hurry up.
No, he's not. He's telling you to
Go
be
ahead.
quiet.
I'm interested in the answer.
Thank you.
And then I want to hear a response. So
Okay,
that's cool.
so sifat are not things that make you more than one. This is your misunderstanding. Okay? When Allah is one, He's undivisible, absolutely one. His sifat is His. That does not make Him more than one. This is your misunderstanding. If you had studied Aqidah, and if you like to, we have durus, you can learn them, you would have known that the sifat of Allah are unique to Him and are only His and are part of Him. They are not divisible. Having sifat does not make you more than one. This is your misunderstanding.
But you're-
Can I finish now?
Oh, are you finished?
No, I'm
Okay,
not.
Go ahead.
If I was finished, then I wouldn't be talking
Okay,
anymore.
go
right?
ahead.
Thank you. Now, if you look at any object in this worldly things, right? Like, I mean, I'm giving you just a worldly example, right? If you look at a tree, right? A tree is one. If a tree has leaves and fruits and all of that, that doesn't mean that the tree is more than one. Now, if the fruit breaks from the tree, it's no longer a part of the tree, right? Now it's no longer a characteristic of the tree itself. Understand? Allah is one he has sifat, but that does not make him more than one. Are we
Alright.
clear?
We're clear on the fact that
Good.
you're saying he's one in some sense.
No?
But I do not agree that he's one in every sense if you are saying he has actual attributes. You use the analogy of a tree. A tree is composite. It has parts. It has branches. It has leaves. I grant that if something's cut off of the tree, it's no longer part of the tree. But the tree is made up of parts. If that's what you mean by saying Allah is one, then you are saying that your being, your God, who is one, in the sense that he's only one being, is a composite of parts. So he's not absolutely one. There is diversity in unity in your deity. Is that true?
No.
Go ahead.
Explain it now?
Go ahead.
I gave you the example of a tree, and as I said in the example, it's a worldly example to show you that something that is connected is one, and when it breaks, it's no longer one, which we have agreed to now, right? You said that if it breaks away, it's no longer going to be part of the tree. Okay, I'm glad we agreed to that. When we talk about Allah, as I've said repeatedly, He is one, and He does not divide. Okay? This is unique to Allah. Allah is uniquely one. He is only one. His sifat do not make Him more than one. He is not divisible. He's not broken into parts. He is one. His sifat are part of that oneness. He is uniquely one.
Right. So,
David.
all you're saying, though, is that he is a composite being that cannot be divided. The sifat cannot be separated from him. I'm granting that. You're still saying he's a composite being.
Okay.
You know what I mean? There's no objection here yet. I'm just saying,
Could I
do
just
you
offer
grant
clarification?
that?
Yeah, because
Do you grant that?
Yeah, what I'm hearing. So, if you, as you pointed out, a tree is one tree.
Okay.
A tree is one tree, but you could say the tree is one in the essence of being a tree or something like that.
Okay.
But it's more than one in cells or leaves or something like that. So it's a kind of unity in plurality or something like that. So I think all Anthony is saying is Allah like that, in that he's one in essence or nature or something like that, but more than one in attribute or
And I'm not objecting
something
to
like
that.
that.
I understand.
I'm not objecting.
think,
I'm
yeah,
just
I think-
clarifying. That's
I'm
where
going to
we
listen
are.
first.
Yeah. So that's not an objection. So it's not like you need to think.
I'm just.
And I don't think you'd be dishonest. So that's not what I'm suggesting here. But I don't think that you need to think, okay, what is he after here? Like he's going after this. I'm not going after that. I don't think a lot of Muslims know that, and I think that's accurate. I think that Muslims believe in one being, but they do ascribe to him certain attributes, qualities, characteristics, all hearing, right, all seeing, those sorts of things. But that technically is not belief as you'd find in pagan philosophers in the monad, which is something that's devoid of any kind of attributes. It's an absolute unity.
Okay. So, first thing, I just wanted to understand what you're saying. If you're saying Allah has sifat, then no doubt we agree. And I have taught Aqidah, you can look at the lessons, it talks about it, right? Allah is all hearing, all seeing. But I think what the miscommunication we're having, and maybe we just kind of go past this, is thinking if somebody's all hearing and all seeing and all knowing, that can somehow make them components that could be taken apart or not a whole as one. I don't think having the ability to hear everything and see everything makes Allah, where Allah is not wholly one. Okay, so, but anyway.
So let me,
go ahead.
Can I ask? So, but you would say that his hearing is not his seeing.
Yes.
Right. So these are distinct attributes. So we are talking
One of them.
right of Allah. So Allah's one, but he has these attributes.
And these attributes don't leave him.
Okay. Now that's where I would like to go after that.
Okay, so I mean, you
One
asked
of
me
his-
about Islamic Aqidah,
Right.
right? In Islamic Aqidah, Allah, His attributes are His. He can I finish?
Yeah.
Man, you are.
You said that, but I'm
You drank
just-
a lot of coffee this morning
No,
or
no, no,
something, man?
no.
Yesterday we were talking to Hebrew Israelites and it turned into a shouting
Yeah.
match. So
Yeah.
his aggression's a little amped up.
So,
Yeah.
hold on.
I'm gonna
Anthony,
blame
it on the
Anthony,
Hebrew
Anthony,
Israelites.
You're not talking to Hebrew Israelites. Your aggression needs to get toned down.
That's not aggression. You're just taking
Look,
too much offense.
Your
at it.
friend that's with you just called it aggression.
Yeah.
So,
too aggressive,
so don't tell
man.
me.
He was
Calm
talking.
down,
He was
dude.
talking to Hebrew Israelites last night.
You guys video this, right? David is telling you it's aggression, so please tone it down, Anthony.
You gotta
From
calm
your
down,
friend.
dude.
He's helping.
Your
gotta
friend
calm
is
down,
telling
man.
you calm down. Why don't you listen to your friend that came with you?
Look like you look like
on.
you're ready to jump over the table, man.
Come on.
Right? I like David. I don't know, how come we haven't met earlier, man? Anthony, I can tell you were a crook.
I can tell you were a shooter.
Oh yeah. Still am. Let's go.
You're crook.
So, that's what they called you, right? Go ahead, what?
Mr. Hammer Time, you two keep bumping fists over here. I'm just.
We can bump fists.
No.
I got you, bro. Don't feel offended. All right.
It's going well.
So do you remember where we're at?
Yes, I do. Okay. So, the understanding that you are bringing is not where I'm at, but we're gonna put that to a side and just go to. Let me finish. Again,
Right.
man.
No,
this
I'm
guy-
putting my finger up.
I
I'm
got
saying
you.
what understanding? I don't know what you mean.
Let me tell you. Let me speak, and you'll know what I mean.
Okay.
When you say something is one, and you say they're compartmentalized, they're taken up parts, right? It comes to an understanding, something that becomes like Lego, right? Something that can come apart and put that together, right? Allah is one. His characteristics are with Him, always been with Him, always will be with Him. He can reveal. Oh, you're smiling already. Look at that, right? He can reveal a part of His kalam, for example, the Quran, but the Quran is always with Him. You understand? Like, if you take what's written, that is not the part of the kalam. That can be burnt, that can be ruined. Somebody could eat it, somebody could do something weird, right? But the kalam of Allah is always with Him. Always will be, not created. Okay? None of Allah's sifat are makhluk. You know what makhluk is? Creation.
Yes.
Creation, right? So, this is just the understanding we want to have as a base. Now, my question to you guys, if you don't mind, is do you believe God is one in the sense that He can become two and come back together, and would He still be the same?
So this is why I do this. This is why I clarify this.
All right, good.
You have described Allah as one, although that does not preclude that He has sifat, attributes.
Which would not
Christians have classically made the same claim. Okay? I don't think a lot of Muslims know that this is the Christian view. So that, for example, at least with respect to the attributes of God, I mean, I think we go a bit further though. But when it comes to the persons of the Trinity, your description of attributes, or sifat,
Come.
your description of sifat,
Come.
yeah,
You look like you're bored, man.
No, I'm listening.
You're looking
I'm listening.
around, looking at.
your
I'm listening, 'cause
description
I
of
want to ask you about the
sifat,
Quran in a minute.
Yeah, three guys.
assuming I'm understanding you
Are you playing for the
correctly, and
camera
I'm
when you say
granting
three
there's a
guys?
possibility there's a
Yes,
difference.
he is.
Yeah, I know, he's playing for the camera.
That's why I would say
It's not three of you here? Can you not count?
Okay,
Or is it one of you guys?
Let's talk.
No,
So-
he's
Go
answering.
ahead.
So when Christians speak of God as triune,
Okay.
we don't think of the persons as divisible.
Okay.
There's a hypostatic distinction. Now, if you're familiar with Islamic kalam, you know that when Muslims classically have spoken of Allah's attributes, they've referred to them as hypostasis. They've given them hypostatic status. That's all Christians have ever said when it comes to the persons of the Trinity. So that for Christians, the persons of the Trinity are not divisible. We don't believe in multiple gods. We're not polytheists. We believe that all persons of the Trinity co-inhere in the one divine essence, just like you would say that multiple attributes co-inhere in one being. Now, I do think, though, there's a fundamental distinction between the Christian view and the Muslim view, which is there does seem to me, in some Islamic thought at least, and you could tell me this is not your view, there seems to be a radical bifurcation.
I got one.
Attributes. So, for example, I'll just give you an example, and you can tell me what you think of that. Some Muslims I talk to will tell me that Allah Himself cannot be present in His creation, but His attributes can. The attribute of seeing, for example. So that's just that's where we're at.
Answer you.
Yes,
See how
that's
I-
where we're at, and that's where.
You see how I respectfully, even though I had a lot to say, I just stayed quiet and listened to you? Did you see that?
Yeah, we're
Okay.
past that. Come on.
We're
let's
not because. Okay, so first thing, you're delving in kalam to me is useless, right? Because I don't believe in ilm al-kalam.
Yeah, but I'm saying I thought that was your view, and you could correct me if that's not your view.
I do not believe in ilm al-kalam, so obviously that's not my view.
But I'm just using kalam in the sense of theology, like
Do
akida.
you know what kalam is?
Yeah.
What is kalam?
Well, it's philosophy, but
It's not.
But
That's falsafa.
well, but it's.
So you don't know what
it's
kalam
the
is?
same idea.
It is not.
Okay, well, go
What
ahead.
is kalam?
Go ahead.
Listen, Anthony, what is kalam? Because you brought it up, but obviously you don't understand what kalam is. What is kalam?
I'm just using it in the sense of people
I
thinking
understand
through
you're using
issues
it.
of Islamic akida and coming to certain conclusions. I know that your methodology would be Quran and Sunnah. That's how you derive your akida.
Anthony, you brought up kalam. I'm just asking you, what is kalam? Ilm al-kalam. What is it? It's not philosophy. Is falsafa. So what's ilm al-kalam?
They're related concepts. It's basically theology.
It is not.
From a Christian perspective, that's how we view it.
It's an kalam. If you're using it, understanding Islamic aqidah, right? What is kalam?
But that's what I'm telling you.
You don't know.
He's saying that's how he's using it.
Okay, I got you. So let me explain it to him now.
You go ahead.
Anthony, you good? All right. So, philosophy is called falsafa. That's basic philosophy. Kalam is use of certain Greek principles, not philosophy in general, understand? In the use of understanding aqaid, and this is something that was brought on by the Ashari and the Maturidi and Ahlul Kalam. You know who those are? You know who Asharis are?
Yes.
Who started the Ashari?
Ashari.
What's his name? Ashari.
That's his name. I don't know. I couldn't say his full name. You know, you guys have like mile-long names. Right?
No, Abu Hassan Ashari. It's pretty easy. It's not a mile long.
Well, his name was Al-Ashari.
Yeah, that's
and
a try.
And he was reacting against people like the Hanbalis, or allegedly, right? At least Atari Akida.
Right.
Am I correct?
No, but let me explain.
He is trying to. Well, I know that you guys would say the original Ashari.
Not on the product itself.
So let me ask you.
No, you have something, you're doing something on the product, right? You're doing business. It doesn't matter what it is, you can't do it on the product. You gotta move it off the product. You can put it on that side if you're talking about the one to. You can't be on this side. That's why nobody's here. You look up this way, you look down that way. Everybody's on the other side. Okay, I would appreciate that. Thank you.
I think I follow today. Okay? So I don't follow ilm al-kalam at all. In Aqidah, I don't deal with it. When these Greek ideas started to seep in, then at that time people started to misunderstand sifat by using ilm al-kalam. Okay? Even Abu Hassan al-Ashari, that's why I asked you if you don't know who he is, he wrote a book called Al-Diyana Al-Ibana fi Usul al-Diyana. I have it. If you want to check it out, I'll bring it.
I think we're moving.
I'm gonna have to give someone the camera because they're saying we gotta be off the sideline.
What?
They're saying we gotta be off the sideline.
Just so you know, it sounds to me like you described your al-kalam.
That's mine. I'm gonna grab it.
I'm not saying you.
I got a lot here.
I'm just saying this is an area of discussion.
So maybe David understood me, because obviously you didn't. So let me explain it again. Okay. You with me now?
Yeah.
Philosophy is falsafa. Okay? In Arabic, that's what we call philosophy. Ilm al-kalam is a totally different concept. It's the concept of taking certain principles of Aristotle's thought and bringing it into understand the sifat of Allah. This is something that was rejected by all the earlier imams, like Abu Hanifa, you know the fourth imam?
Well, they might take this. Abu Hanifa, Ahmed bin Hanbal.
You got two.
Shafi'i.
You have the eight. One more.
Shafi'i, hold on.
You got this, Anthony. You can do it.
I don't pretend to study fiqh, just so you know. Just so you know.
Okay.
I got three.
We're talking about
Hanafi.
Nope, you already said Abu Hanifa.
Hanafi,
I'll help you.
Hanbali, Shafi'i.
Maliki, come on.
Oh, David,
Maliki.
for the rescue.
I would have got it.
You gotta thank him for that one. Come on.
It reminds me of king in Arabic, and I think it's similar.
Okay, so now, that use of kalam is something that was rejected by all of them. Okay? So leave kalam out of it. In the discussion, no kalam. Okay? Now, even if you took those do not separate God from His creation, right? Meaning that Allah is separate. They don't separate parts of the sifat to go and He can see, but that doesn't mean that He's a part of His creation. Okay? Just because you see something doesn't mean you're a part of it. Okay? Now, my question again now, as I understand, and I want to understand your idea, because you're saying it's the same concept. So, let me just, okay. I mean, you said it's the same basic as kalam, so I just want to understand. I know what kalam is, even though I don't use it. Okay? So when you say Jesus was born out of Mary, right? Are we in agreement?
Well, you go ahead and finish your point, then I'll talk.
That's just a question.
That's where we step.
Yeah, so I'm just asking this question. Was Jesus born out of Mary?
Do I get to reply now? Because there's a lot that's bound up in that. Because I don't think that there's. So let me clarify. When I talk about that whole area of discussion, Hida, Kalam, all that, I'm not saying you adopt that. All I'm getting at is that this is that whole area of discussion that gives rise to all of this. What I said was that as Christians, we believe the persons of the Trinity, as to their divine nature and essence, co-inhere in the one divine being. My question to you was, does Allah's attributes, which you say are inseparable from him, or do they enter into his creation? Now you said, and see, this is where I think it's being flipped. You said they don't become part of his creation. I'm not asking if they become part of his creation. I'm asking if since Allah himself can't enter into creation, nevertheless you would say that his attribute of seeing is present.
Yes.
Okay. But is Allah present?
So, do you mean present physically in that? Or, so, if you mean is Allah present in knowing everything, and seeing everything, and hearing everything, then yes, Allah sees everything, hears everything, and knows everything. Can I? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has told us about himself, his nuzul, and all that he has said, we believe in it as he has revealed. Okay? But we don't mix the creator and the creation. Now, you went around my question. You said you were going to answer, but you didn't. Was Jesus born from Mary's womb?
So, again, just remind me if I don't get to this part. Because
Okay.
I'm trying to make sure, you're trying to build on where we're at, and I'm just trying to make sure we're at the same spot.
Pretty simple question there.
Yeah, it was simple, but I haven't even tried to answer it.
I wish you would.
So, what I'm saying is, what is it then about Allah that isn't present if his attribute of seeing is here, and there's a sense in which you could say he's here in the sense of seeing, but he's not here in what sense? And then, you want my answer to the other part?
Yes.
Okay. Jesus, because we don't believe that God is absent from his creation, he's upholding all things. There's no sense in which he could be absent. He's not his creation, right? He's not any part of it. Okay. Right? When we say that God is present, we don't mean that he is the things that are here. He is present upholding everything. Everything is upheld by his power. So nothing could be apart from him. It exists by virtue of him. When the Son of God takes on a human nature, it's not the Son of God now entering creation for the first time. He's already present. God is omnipresent classically, according to Judaism and Christianity. The Son of God is now taking into union with himself a human nature, and by virtue of that is being born. It's not his divine nature it's not coming into being. It's not starting to exist at that point. It's not, in some sense now, becoming present, whereas before it wasn't. Does that address what you were asking?
No, not at all.
So then what were you asking?
Okay, so my question very simply, was Jesus born from Mary's womb? That was the simple question.
Yes, well that's the answer is yes.
Okay, that's the answer, yes.
Yes.
Okay. So let me understand this now, a deeper understanding. God, who is not separable, so he is still God, was in the belly of a woman and came out of the womb of a woman. God.
God took on a human nature and was really born.
So your belief is that one great creator came out of the womb, the vagina of a woman.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
Allah blew into Farjaha.
Yeah.
Let me
Same way that
explain.
your God blew
Wait,
into.
don't do
You want me to
that.
answer him?
Well, yeah, you can answer him, but what I'm getting at is don't pretend that you refuted Christianity just because you rolled your eyes at it.
Let me.
This is the historic Christian position, which your religion later came along and claimed that it was confirming and correcting at points of its departure, you believe, from what was originally true. You don't refute Christianity by eye rolling. Surely you know that, right? What is your argument against that?
You want me to speak?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not here to refute Christianity. I'm not here to debate. I'm here to give da'wah. I am a da'i, not a debater. You misunderstood it. If you wanted to come and debate, you can come and debate. No problem. Let me explain. When I said, thank you very much, that means in my mind, and anybody I think who has basic logic would not believe that the creator of the universe was born from the vagina of a woman. That's me. That's my belief. If you believe that, I respect your right to believe that. To me, that doesn't make any sense. And let me finish. Take it easy, Crook. Take it easy. Stop jumping. Take it easy.
Shooter, come on.
Thank
Start
you.
shooting.
I'm shooting.
Shoot.
Yeah,
Shoot.
So here, to me, that makes absolutely no sense. To think that the creator of the universe was now, and he still is, even if he's in human form, because he said he's still one, was the womb of a woman, and came out of the vagina of woman, this is the creator of the universe. To me, that doesn't make sense. To me, that's a human.
Is it my turn? Is it my turn? Hold on.
It did.
So now it's my turn, right?
Go ahead.
Now let me just explain to you guys a critical issue. If anybody takes a basic class in logic, rhetoric, or anything like that, and I'm not saying you haven't. I think you're a smart guy. I'm not.
Thank you.
That's
I
not a
appreciate
shot.
that.
That's not even me being disingenuous. I think he's a smart guy, and I say that about people all the time. I think people can be smart that I disagree with.
Sure.
But you do know that there's a difference between making an assertion and making an argument. It's an assertion to say that doesn't make sense, and to say that you think nobody who says that is even being logical or logical or what have you. The vast majority of people on the planet happen to believe that or something along those lines. Yes, and I've heard you say things to that effect.
Vast majority. That would be more than 50%.
No. But what I'm saying is,
I don't think Christians are more than 50% of the planet.
what I'm saying is, so first of all, in history, Christians have been a majority. But what I'm saying is there are other groups that would say things that you would think are analogous to that. Do you not? Don't you
You want me
think
to answer?
Okay,
I'm just listening. See, David asked, I'm
Go
listening.
ahead. Go ahead.
First thing, the vast majority taking something or not taking doesn't really matter. Second thing, I didn't make an argument. I gave you my opinion.
Amen.
Thank you.
Amen.
Amen.
That was my
All
point.
right.
That was my point. And I wasn't arguing that the majority makes it
You see
true.
how you cut me off again?
No,
David.
No, this is
David,
the point we
come
were
on,
making.
be fair, bro.
Come on, David. He needs your help. He needs the help of a Christian.
You need it. You need his help.
You need.
You see this? You
Take-
see this?
Don't take the
You guys
Jews and
see
Christians for your friends.
You see this?
Come on now. You don't need his
You
help.
see this?
You don't need his
David,
help.
This is what you came to represent?
Come on, guy. We're still
Seriously,
talking.
David?
We're still talking.
We're not
still
talking because you keep
Yeah, we
cutting
are.
me off, bro.
No. I'm just saying this is what we've established now. You have only rolled your eyes at it. When I said the majority have held this, I'm not making an argument here either. I'm just saying it doesn't. That's not an argument, and so I think you need to do something better than that.
First thing, the majority of the world today is not Christian. Right? This is, if you have 2 billion out of
Statistically,
7 billion, that's not it.
Well, no. Yeah, in that sense.
The majority would not believe
Yes.
in Jesus being born because Hindus and others would also not believe in that.
But I was using.
So let me just clarify that, right? If you can. Right? I think we're good. So that doesn't even make sense, first off, what you're saying, right? Because you're saying the majority would believe that concept of Jesus being born, and that's not true, right? So let's leave, misconception out of it, because that's not true to begin with, right? Now,
That's not how I intended it.
that's what you said.
Let me just clarify. I think he's saying that if you say something like, well, that just sounds weird or crazy to me, he's saying most
On
of
the
the world.
concept of God being born out of the
Yeah,
vagina
most of the
a
world
woman.
doesn't find that absurd, even if they don't believe it.
Really? I don't know
That only
wait,
speaks
hold
to
on,
your
hold on.
ignorance and not to the
Who
fact
am I
of
dealing
those
with here? Because you guys are all jumping in and out. Can I deal with 1, 2, 3, 4?
You seem to want to avoid the points.
I'm not. I'm getting to the point, right? So the point is to say the majority of the world does not have an objection to God being born out of the vagina of woman is not correct, because that's a Christian belief. Hindus, for example, and I've spoken to many, would not agree with that concept, right? Neither would Muslims, neither would some Buddhists, depending on who they are, neither would Jews. Many Jews would disagree, right? So that's your statement was factually incorrect. But that's not really the point.
No, it is. If you're going to try and move on, then I get to respond to that.
Go ahead.
The point was conceptually. You're making the category mistake of people accepting it as true and people accepting it as logical or rational. Something can be false and still be logical, right? Let me give you an example.
Sure. I'm listening.
It's not irrational for somebody to be walking down the street right now with an umbrella. That doesn't mean somebody is walking down the street with an umbrella. There's a difference between making something that's logically possible as a claim and somebody making a factually true statement. What I was getting at is that conceptually the world has not held that. When you enlist people like Jews, for example, that's not really helping, because how many Jews are there in the world? You know that, as well as I do, there's not that many in the world, and certainly not compared to either Islam or Christianity. The vast majority of people have not considered the Christian belief irrational, that the Creator could enter into His creation or be present in His creation, which is basically the same idea. The vast majority have not thought that, even if the vast majority have not believed it. Although I would say statistically, more people are Christian than there are Muslims or other religions.
Can I speak?
Yes.
See how I listen?
It's great. You did
No.
a good job.
Thank you. Let's see if you can.
Okay.
So now, when you said the vast majority of the world does not agree with what I'm saying, right, or has no problem with that concept, you have no evidence for that. You're making an assumption. Let me speak, because the vast majority is not Christian, right? And the other groups of faith, you're making an assumption on their behalf, which I am only assuming for myself. I said, to me, that doesn't make sense, right? I didn't make a claim that the vast majority of the world would agree with me. But when you say the vast majority, again, this guy, man, this guy.
Are you okay?
You're too easily shaken.
No, look how I listened when he was.
No, but you use every little excuse to try to avoid dealing with the issue.
So I am dealing with the issue, right? The issue is that your claim is wrong because you're making an assumption about the vast majority of the world. But again, like David said, I think you're just going off just because you took a tangent, right?
No, I was
This
talking
whole
about this whole. I was talking about
You're
this
talking
whole
about me or
conversation.
him?
No, I'm talking about the whole discussion.
Okay, so
I think the point he's simply making is Hindus, of course, reject Christianity, but
Sure.
it's not on the base. They're not saying we reject it because it's absurd to think of God being born. Because if their scripture said it, they would say, okay, we have no problem.
But you're making an assumption on the Hindu belief that they would accept that.
I'm thinking of what Hinduism teaches, and
Right.
they believe
Again.
all kinds of things like Krishna and so
Sure.
on that
But-
shows that they would not have a problem
Again,
with that in
I,
itself.
I will not make an assumption if they would or would not believe in Islamic doctrine was in their books, and you should not make an assumption that they would or would not believe a Christian doctrine that would be in their books.
First, I was responding to
Ooh.
you. First, I was responding to you, saying nobody would believe this. Or this is absurd. It's illogical. Logical people wouldn't believe this. And I'm pointing out to you, the vast majority of people have not found that conceptually.
Where's that
objectionable.
evidence for it?
The evidence for it is that you don't have it. That's the whole point.
I didn't make the claim, you did.
No, you made the claim that the vast majority of people would see that as illogical.
Did I, David?
Yes, we got it on tape.
Did I
Okay.
make that claim?
So then,
wait,
okay.
We got this on tape. We're
Okay.
on. Wait.
We got this on tape.
Wait. David, what's your name?
Louis.
Louis. Let's just be honest here. Did I make the claim that the vast majority of the world would find it objective? Did I make that claim?
Illogical.
Did I make that claim, Louis?
Why didn't you make that claim?
Thank you.
That
David,
doesn't
did I
mean
make
you
that
He
didn't
wasn't even standing here.
I'd have to look at the footage.
Yeah, that doesn't mean you didn't.
Sounds like something you
But it's irrelevant.
Okay.
It's irrelevant.
It is relevant because when
Okay.
you see, hold on, Anthony, bro, listen. When you are trying to put words in my mouth and
slow
claiming
down,
that I
slow down.
made claims that I didn't make, and your friend David and your friend Louis there also know better, even if he wasn't here, then he's
You don't
out.
agree.
But David was standing here the whole time,
Yeah, he was
and we
standing
got
the
it
whole
on
time.
tape.
Yes,
I did
we got
not
it on
make
tape.
that claim.
Okay,
I
can we get back to a point of substance?
Okay, let me say this.
You
Let me say
guys
this.
move the point. then,
Let's
so-
just this. I think you're kind of making this an issue of bad faith, meaning like there's ill will here. Okay.
Well, there is when you put words in my mouth.
No,
right?
listen. This is what I'm trying to tell you.
Okay.
I don't think I'm wrong. I think I heard you accurately. It's possible I'm wrong. I'm willing to grant that. I'm certainly not saying it because I'm trying to put words in your mouth.
Like
It's
Muhammad
possible,
in the mouth of
right?
Jesus.
Right. No, listen.
What?
Listen.
Are you trying
Hear
to
me.
go
Hear
somewhere
me.
else?
Hear me.
No, you guys need to pick who's going to speak because now he's brought up a topic that he's trying to take a shot right here, right?
Your books are good.
One guy.
Books are
it's all
good,
right.
by the way.
They'll be okay. But can you as a group pick who's going to be the one
Come on,
speaking?
you're a
I'm
master of
serious.
throwing jabs. You know that.
No. You guys are trying to throw jabs that if I respond to you now, then he's going to tell me I'm getting off topic. So you guys need to
indirectly. I
referee
just
this.
made a point.
No, you did throw a jab. You said the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi
Threw
wasallam
words
put
in the
words
mouth of Jesus.
That's a jab.
But you don't
'cause
like
that's
that.
not true.
But you don't like
That's
that.
a false statement.
So Muhammad
That's a
quoted
false
Jesus
statement.
accurately?
Yes. Okay, so now this is how you are trying to take the discussion to
In
a
what language?
separate. Do you want me to respond to you now? Is this a discussion now,
Just ask me
or
a
are you going to tell
Well,
me?
that's-
Are you hijacking this discussion?
No, well, he's
Thank you, David.
shaking.
I'm not shaking.
Okay.
You're shaking, and
that
I'll
loud?
shake all you guys.
Oh, wait, go ahead.
That's why you're jumping in because
Okay,
you
so
know
let's-
this is getting loud for you.
Let's
It's
get
all
back.
right.
Let's get back.
Yeah,
to
why don't we
the
get back there?
report.
So the
David,
question was that
I'll
the
tell you
virgin
what,
it was a
listen.
virgin birth, the Son of God,
Okay, yeah.
and Islamic views on
Excellent.
the nature of God.
So,
Right.
let's let David referee this, all right? Because I don't want then him to be jumping and him to be
But
jumping.
do you understand what I was saying
I do
there just
understand
right now?
what you're saying, yeah.
That even if you think I got you wrong, it doesn't have to mean that I'm trying to make you look
I
better.
appreciate that.
Right? Because that's not what I'm trying to do.
Thank you.
Right? Okay.
All
I'll
right.
stand.
So let you referee because I don't want to then be having you guy and this guy, right? I know you guys are all excited. It's good, right? Now, I'm not going to speak for Hindus, I'm not going to speak for Jews, I'm not going to speak for most of the world. That I'll let them speak to what they believe. Even in Islamic doctrine, I'm not going to make claims about them. Okay? As myself, as a Muslim, as Uthman standing here, I'm telling you, to me, if you come and tell me that the basis of your religion is that God put himself, that he impregnated a woman named Mary, and she became then his mother. He impregnated his mother and came into the womb of Mary and then was born out of a vagina. To me, the conversation's over. Your religion, to me, has no appeal because to me that's just disgusting and doesn't make sense. My personal view, right? I respect your right to have your view.
Now, do you think, and I'm not going to get into that now, but do you think that I find certain things about Islam repugnant or attractive or not?
Sure.
Okay. Do you think that it would be rational for me to reject Islam on the basis of my personal revulsion?
You have an answer?
Yeah.
Okay. Your personal belief has to do with you. If you don't like something in Islam, you have the right to reject it. I didn't come up to you at your table and bring this. You came to me.
But
right?
you technically invited
I
us.
did. I did.
You technically invited us.
So I invited you. You came. You presented your view. To me, it doesn't make sense. I reject it. Right? You came. If you want, I will give you the Islamic view. And if you don't like it, you can reject and walk. Have a nice day at Balboa Park. So my invitation for this conversation, I'm not here to debate. As I said earlier, I'm a da'i, not a debater. If anybody wants to debate, like you apparently do, you're welcome to come here. But if I disagree, if I feel that this doesn't, God coming in the vagina of a woman and being born and the universe and he's
Your God put his nose
again,
in the vagina.
look at this guy. No, David, come on,
Did he
man.
not?
No, he did not. He put his nose in the vagina of a woman.
Who blew into
Wait,
Mary's
wait,
vagina?
where did God put his nose in the vagina of a woman?
Who blew into Mary's vagina?
Nobody,
He's
not
asking,
God.
he's asking you about the Quranic statement where it talks about
hold
blowing
on.
into
No,
a
if you're
vagina.
going to jump in, then handle it.
I thought you knew
No,
you
if you're going to jump in,
now
wait,
you
see,
said,
Dave, you see what I mean? You see what I mean?
Exactly.
I said people
Exactly.
don't
I'm
jump
gonna-
in,
I'm gonna
and
say-
I asked you to regulate it, and you
Exactly.
didn't, and you jumped in
I don't
again.
control everyone.
You brought these people with you.
But
No, hold on. You guys are, see, when I'm at a point, you guys are letting people, because now I could totally answer him, but
debate. You
no,
don't
no,
debate.
it's not a debate, it's an answer. Do you know what the
I just
difference
made a
is?
statement that
No, you
contradicts
didn't. You
your-
made a false statement. Right? Bring me evidence.
Let people
Bring me
do
evidence.
research.
How
That
about,
God put, hold on.
How about
God
we do
put
this?
his nose
He-
in the vagina of woman, my God. Bring me evidence.
how about we do this?
Bring me
When
evidence.
you and I are
You have
done,
the Quran in your hand, bring me evidence.
when you and I are
got
done,
none.
when you are,
You got none.
You're derailed.
You got none. You tried to derail.
when you and
You
I
know
are
better.
done, when you and I are done, then you guys can do that.
You're derailed.
You see, David?
When you and I are,
well,
All right, let's go back.
I mean,
Okay. So who's speaking now?
I just wanted to kind of clarify. That's the only time I jump in when
I agree. You can jump in. I'm saying is, can you regulate so we don't have some guy trying to make some
Yeah,
false
but-
statement here and there? If you can't,
Yeah, but
then,
at the same
then we're going
time,
to make a line.
If someone walks up, I can't say you can't speak. That's
Is he not
that's
with your
my
group?
place. I mean,
Come on,
I
come
know
on.
him, but
Don't lie.
knows him.
Don't lie.
No.
He came earlier to
I said
check
I know
out.
him. I said I know him.
Yeah,
no,
you know him.
he's not with our group. But I know
You know
him.
him,
I know
right?
Louis.
So he knew you were coming or no? Don't lie to me. Don't lie to me.
I did not. I didn't tell him a word. I told no one except I told no one except my wife and him. And
I can tell you.
him and
Did
like
you know he
three
was
others.
coming?
Did I know who was coming?
David Wood.
He obviously knew. He obviously knew.
Is he again? No, he's the one jumped in. No, he wants to talk about
so let me
sidetracking.
explain.
All right.
We had this thing planned, and then some things.
You
got
did
out.
have it a plan. So that's what I'm saying.
wanted to
when
come
you
here.
plan this, then you can
Yeah.
control this, right?
Yeah. Well, no, but what I'm saying is we had planned that some
So,
of us were coming here to talk.
Let's ignore Lewis then, if you don't mind. I'm gonna put you on mute.
You guys can have the finish.
All right, now, so I think the issue is right.
Okay.
So you obviously want people to learn about Islam.
Yes.
And you're inviting people to Islam.
Yes.
And I think the point that Anthony is making is if our response was, well, we don't like Muhammad and Aisha, or we don't like this
Sure.
or that.
That's fine.
I think your response would be, well, if it's true, you need to believe it anyway, and not just because you don't like something, right? And I think so. What he's saying is, the question about Christianity should be, is this true? Not oh, I don't like that idea. So I think that's what you're trying to get at.
So,
Right?
and let me throw
I think
this
you
in.
put that pretty well.
And let me put this in,
Let me.
because I would agree with. Let me say this.
Should I answer him?
But this goes with that. You're not that.
Well, I mean, I did toss it in just to see if that's
Okay,
what
but
this one you're
This
making.
goes with that.
Is that the point you're making?
Let me, yeah. So what I'm saying is, though, is if you could show me, for example, well, I'll give you an example, and I think you would agree with this as a logical, manner of procedure. If there was something I didn't like in Islam, but somebody could demonstrate, let's say, that the source on which that claim is based is true, came from God, right? Like the Quran or the Hadith, some particular Hadith, then in my mind, it doesn't matter whether I have some natural reaction to this or not, I ought to believe it. And I'm saying the same thing when it comes to Christianity and Christian claims. If the Bible proclaims this, and the Bible's the Word of God, and I know you don't hold that, obviously.
You do.
Right? Yeah, of course I do. And I know you think it has contradictions, and I know that all the standard ones you think that you have and all that, and I have all my reasons for thinking the Quran has contradiction. I mean, I know the back and forth claims. We've done this for years, you've done this for years. I'm just saying, with what he said, I think there's something more for both of us than simply, that's distasteful to me. I don't think that makes sense, right? There's got to be something behind your reason for being a Muslim beyond, I like it.
Are you done?
I just want to add an example. I just wanted to add an example. So, because I mentioned, like Muhammad and Aisha. So if I said, I find that problematic or something like that, if you somehow showed that Islam is true, in my mind, the way I think, I would be like, okay, well, if this is from God and I've got a problem with that, then I'm the one with the problem. I'm the one with the problem, and I need to believe God. So yeah, that's all he's saying. If God says, hey, I'm entering creation,
Who are we? Who are we?
So, just now, I want to understand and I want to have a productive conversation. Okay. First thing, what the misconception that I think you might have that I'd like to clarify is if you come, I'm here to present Islam to you. Okay? And if you decide that there is some core concept, like the marriage of Aisha is not an Aqidah concept, right? So that's something totally different, right? But a core concept of Islamic Aqidah, Allah is one. Okay? Allah sent prophets, Allah sent books, Allah sent guidance, Allah is merciful, Allah will judge, there's the day of judgment. There is, if you believe that was something problematic to you, I would present it and I would tell you it's up to you. Hidayah is not from me. Guidance, translating, is not from me, it's from Allah. Allah gives guidance, right? مَا عَلَيْنَا إِلَّا بَلَاغُ الْمُبِينَ. It is not upon us except to convey the message clearly, right? So, if you disagree with something in the core Aqidah of Islam, you have the right not to believe. Go enjoy your day at Balboa Park. I'm not pushing. You feel me, David? Feel me, Crow? Good.
Sure.
All right.
But
no, I'm not done, bro. Let me
whoa,
continue.
you didn't
I
ask me
listened
a
to both
question.
of you the whole time.
No,
I
go
didn't even get to his answer yet. Okay?
I thought you were done.
No, I'm not. All right. So, now, when we get to the core concept of God coming into the womb of a woman and being born and then being sacrificed for our sins, so he takes the sins of mankind, and instead of us being responsible, to me, all of that makes no sense. Right? To me, personally, doesn't make sense. To me, I don't believe that's from God. Right? I don't believe that's a just God, that somebody pays for everybody else's sins. Right? To me, that's not just, and I have a core hard belief that Allah is just. Okay? So, in that case, if you are here to present Christianity, no thank you, have a nice day.
So, by the same token, because again, all we're doing now is exchanging, feelings. You said that certain things are contrary to your particular constitution, right? Your makeup causes you to, I have that same feeling towards Islamic beliefs, and I've tried to be gracious in this. I know what you find, disreputable with respect to Christianity. But I equally look at things in Islam, and I say, for example, that to me is quite questionable.
Like?
For example, the idea that Allah has loins. Have you ever heard this claim?
You want me to tell you, or you want to finish?
Well, so I'll finish. So here, the idea that Allah has loins as part of his characteristics, his sifat, that he has a shin, that this is going to be an identifiable sifat, attribute, by which people are going to believe in him on the final day. A number of other notions associated with that. I find problematic the notion of a religion that would object to God entering into his creation, even though in various Islamic sources it seems to borrow from Jewish and Christian beliefs the things that you're objecting to, like Allah entering into his creation. Does Allah not descend to the lowest heavens in the third part of the night? Does Allah, did he not speak to Moses at the right side of Mount Sinai, Surah 19, Surah 20, 27, 28? Do we not find these beliefs? So you find objectionable that God entered into his creation. I'm saying God's always present with his creation. The virgin birth is not God entering into his creation. It's God now entering, taking into union with himself a human nature and living a real human life, including all of the experiences that go along with that, being born, suffering, dying, rising again, and so forth. So just remember, here's the basic point, right? Well, even if you don't agree with my illustrations here, right? My basic point is this: just because you don't like those ideas doesn't mean I don't like certain ideas in Islam. And there has to be more to it than just I don't like that, you don't like that, This isn't like doesn't Muhammad in the Quran say let us reason, let us argue, let us debate? Didn't Muhammad have debates with the Christians of Najran? Those are all aspects of just so you know. Just so you know, don't laugh.
Should I start taking notes because you're going on like 10 points? I want to take notes on each point. So I'm saying instead of going point by point,
this is my last point.
What do you want him to respond to?
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is my last point.
Okay.
This is actually something I like about Islam, so don't take this away from me.
All right.
The fact that Muslims, in contrast to other religions, are so willing to engage.
Excellent.
It's the one thing, not the one thing. I'm not going to say there's nothing else.
I'm sure you like a lot of things about Islam.
So, what I'm saying is, the one
like the
thing,
beer?
I know...
You know you like Islam, man.
You know he likes it. You know he goes and makes dua to Allah at the end.
I'm telling you the truth. Listen to this. You can put this on your YouTube channel.
Don't worry.
When I look... When I look at, a Jewish person, sometimes I think, I wonder if he'd like to talk to me about religion, about the Lord. Maybe not. Probably not. I look at another person, Hindu. He's probably going to be upset that I'm interrupting his walk down the road.
Right.
I look at a Muslim, I say, he'll talk to me.
Yeah.
He'll talk to me. He'll argue with me. He'll reason with me.
You know what? And to respond to that compliment, first off, I also appreciate the fact that Christians and Muslims can usually have a civil conversation. Right? So, second, just to make it clarification, you said Muhammad said in the Quran. The Quran's not the words of Muhammad.
But I know that's not your opinion.
Just clarifying, Muhammad doesn't say anything in the Quran. The Quran speaks to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So I don't think he was speaking to himself. So let's move forward from there. Secondly, you made a lot of things like loins and sifat and shin. So I don't know if you want me to get into all of that because that's what I'm saying. Like I want to say point by point and not have jumps here and there.
I spoke like
3.5 minutes.
I'm not trying to cut him off.
Go ahead. Let's be gracious to our guests that came from so far away.
It's not me trying to cut you off. I'm just saying I didn't need you to respond to those points.
You do.
Those were illustrations
of they're wrong.
But, okay.
So I do need to respond.
But what I'm saying is you can say they're wrong, but I didn't bring them up in order for us to resolve those.
I know.
I'm saying those are things I find objectionable in the Islamic sources.
Bro,
shooter.
That's what I'm saying. So if I'm having this conversation and suddenly I'm like, there's an alien sitting over there, and you're like, what? And I'm like, no, don't respond to that. No, when you throw misconceptions out, then I have to respond to them, just like Lewis, right?
Please do. Let's talk about the loins and the shin.
Okay, excellent. Let's get there. Okay. But let's go back to the first point because then we're just jumping, right? As a lot of Christians do, but I'm hoping we will not, right? You're saying God was always present with Jesus in every. By himself in his creation, so that Jesus coming in the womb of the Mary was not something new, which really is something baffling to me. Are you saying God physically, like Jesus physically was in the womb of Mary, is in your private? I mean, is that your belief?
Answer that?
Yes.
We don't believe that God is a physical being as to his divine nature.
Okay.
So
God is not.
I'm not sure why that's funny. But do you guys think God is physical?
You want me to respond?
Well, but somebody's laughing. I just found that.
So let me.
I don't think.
You asked a question. You want me to answer it?
But not yet. Then.
Okay.
Let me just say this real quick.
Right,
I don't think that God's divine nature is a tangible stuff. I don't think that God is. We can't touch him, smell him, feel him, see him. He doesn't have extension in space.
Will you see God?
So, by virtue of the Incarnation, number one.
In the Day of Judgment.
By virtue of the Incarnation, God has taken on human form.
So he is physical.
his human nature, which he assumed in the womb of the Virgin Mary, is physical.
So God,
that shouldn't be puzzling. That's
it is
classic.
puzzling.
That's
It is
classic
puzzling.
Christianity.
It's still puzzling.
We shouldn't be learning it right now.
I've heard it many times. It's still, if somebody tells me 2 + 2 is 5, they could tell me that 100 times. It'll still
That's
be
a false
puzzling.
analogy. Yeah, I don't think that's...
Look, I'm making a statement about my understanding, so don't think it's a false analogy. I'm saying, to me, if somebody was to tell me 2 and 2 is 5, it would be puzzling even if I heard it a million times. I'm talking about myself, so it's not a false analogy.
Well,
Let me explain to you. I'm talking about my feelings there, guy. Calm down there. All right? Now,
2 + 2 on your feelings.
how I feel about that is my feeling.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
This guy just can't.
This guy.
All right.
This guy. Come
So,
on.
Let it go. He did have a lot to respond to.
Okay, no,
thank you,
I
David.
agree.
Yeah, I can't believe Mr. Hammer's the one that actually is appreciated.
Come on.
You're the good guy.
We got to even it out, though.
We
Come
cool,
on.
we
There
cool,
we go.
man. I'm waiting for Sam, but it's all right. Asumu, I'm sorry. Asumu.
His name is...
Just so you know, I
he goes
can't
by-
control Sam.
Oh, I bet you can.
And let me say this, his name is Sam. There are people who intentionally call him by his full name when he prefers to go by Sam.
What did his parents
And
name?
it's intended to be insulting
Oh, I didn't
to
know
Sam.
that.
I'm not saying he's insulted. I'm
Okay.
just telling you that people that perhaps have told you to call him that
Nobody told
might
me
not
to
have
call
either
him
known or might have known.
What did his parents name him?
I'm assuming his full name is Osama. I'm not saying he takes that offensive.
Okay, if he doesn't, that's all good. If he does, I won't call him that.
I'm just
Okay.
telling you that.
So let's go back to, so when you say that God manifested in the womb of a woman into a human form, and then that was God inside the womb. So God was physically a baby in the womb of a mother, and then God, the creator of the universe, who's still all together, physically came out of the womb of a mother. To me, again, that, and I don't know if anybody else finds that troubling, but
What's the troubling part? What's the argument?
all of it. It's not an argument. Again,
I know, that's what I'm saying. There's no
Can
argument.
I ask one question for clarification? And this is just, I just want to know what you're saying. Are you saying that God can't do that, or he just wouldn't do that?
Excellent.
Because there's difference. There's things I can't do and things I just wouldn't do.
So, when we talk about God, and you guys have debated with atheists, so you already know that whole God can't lift a rock thing, right? That there's certain things that are against the nature of the greatness of God as it is, right? From that God, if you can say, can God be a rock he can't lift? Well, that doesn't it's not really a question to ask, because from the nature of God is greatness, right? That he's able to do all things, right? So it's like saying, can Anthony be a man and woman at the same time? Which now we're in California, but it ain't happening, bro. Right? Right? So that there's right. So the nature, they're one or the other, whatever they think they are. Right? So right. So here we go to me that goes against the nature of God, right? Because this is something that is human, born from wombs and breastfeeding and burping and peeping and pooping. This is not something I can attribute to God, right? In my belief, right? In what I understand to be correct. Again, and I love to have a conversation, and we're having a conversation, but like I said, I'm not going to force Islamic belief on you. If you have an issue with creed, aqidah, then you have the right not to believe it. It's your right. Allah will judge between me and you. It's not a problem, right? But my job is to present. Okay? So in your presentation that I asked you for, and I appreciate the presentation that God physically, not by seeing or sight, was in the womb of a woman, came out of vagina, that's against the nature of God in what I see. That again, that's my personal belief.
So just give the simple version. When he asked, can he do it or would he do it? Which one of those were you addressing? To me, it sounded like you, in some sense, were addressing both. But I think the fundamental claim is that he can't do it. It's against his nature.
Yeah, and
Is that right?
I mean, as an example, like if you were to ask me, can God ride a bicycle? I would say, well, I don't think he would, but he could if he wanted to. For some reason, God could take on a form and ride a bicycle. Just like, if you're talking about, the Quran and Allah speaking on the fire, I don't know what you believe there. I believe God could do that, and so there's that distinction.
Sure.
You believe God can enter into his creation in the form of a human being, or God's more along the lines of, well, I have the power to do that, but there's no way I would do that. It's beneath me, or something like that.
So let me just give you an example, right? And I think it'll clarify this, right? Do you believe God would have sexual intercourse with a woman?
I believe God has the power to do that if he wanted to, but he wouldn't want to because of his moral nature.
Thank you. So I mean, let's say a wife. That's not immoral to have sex with a wife, right? I mean, you have a wife, I'm assuming. So I'm sure you have intercourse, right?
Lots.
Right? Although she might watch the video and put a different comment, take it easy. Right?
No, she'll say
All right.
lots.
So now the point there being that that's not immoral, right? So would God do that? Get a wife and have sex with her?
Yeah, but again, it's not a question of power or ability. It's a question of he wouldn't
It's
do that.
against his nature, right?
Yeah. So is that what you're saying? Is that what you're saying?
He's
You're
asking
saying
that's what
it's-
you're saying.
I'm asking you, if somebody was to ask you, can God get married and have sex with a woman?
I
What
would
would you
clarify, say, as far as power, God has the ability to do anything that doesn't entail a contradiction or a couple qualifications like that. As far as things that he would actually do, he's not going to contradict his own moral nature.
Thank you. So I would say again, God would not contradict his own nature by being born out of the vagina of a woman.
And
same
and
page.
when you say that he wouldn't contradict his nature, you're thinking more in terms of metaphysical quality. What I mean here is just his greatness, for example. You're not thinking mostly in terms of moral categories. You're thinking in terms of greatness. This sort of thing is beneath him. I think the Islamic. Is that correct?
Let me answer.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think I gave the answer exactly with the analogy that I gave, right? Just like Anthony, if I was to ask you, as I asked David, could God get a wife and have sexual intercourse with her? You would say that's against the nature of God, I'm assuming, right?
So what I would say,
what would you say?
that's why I was trying to clarify. Were you making it more metaphysical or moral? My answer is, would God do this sort of thing? You're saying it's contrary to his greatness. And my whole point is precisely that's why Jesus needed to become a human being, because the sorts of things that Jesus did are otherwise outside of the parameters of what is possible within his divine nature. God, for example, cannot die. How could he die then unless he took a human nature, right? So what I'm getting at is you're not presenting a contradiction so much that God couldn't do this. You just think that your God wouldn't do this. So it's not so much a metaphysical problem as it is for you something else. That's what it seems to me. Yeah.
So you are saying that God could and
Did.
have sex with a woman?
If Jesus wanted to get married, absolutely. Do you think it's contrary to the nature of God for people to have these? So let me put it this way. Let me
You're
put it this
saying
way.
God did have sex with a woman?
No.
So when I was saying you jumped out, right?
No, that's not all I said.
He said yes before you finished. So you said.
Come on, even it out. Come on.
You see why you should let me finish before
No,
you say yes?
you said I
Right,
didn't
David?
Yeah,
Right,
see?
David?
No.
See, it's too late. You're Muslim now, right? No.
Should we
No,
do
no.
Shahada now or later?
No, so listen. So that's I don't think that's what
Why don't
happened.
you let me finish what I'm saying before you respond?
Okay,
How
go ahead.
about that?
But I know
Because-
what you were saying.
No, you didn't.
Go ahead.
Because
Go ahead.
I was saying, do you think God could have sex with a woman? And you said he did.
Okay.
What?
No, that's
What,
true.
Anthony?
If,
That's
no,
true?
if you're right, man.
No,
if
no,
you're-
no,
if
I-
you're
what
right.
are we doing?
I
No,
think
no, that's fine. No, that's good.
I think you
I
said.
thought you.
Yeah, I thought you said. Again, I think you added something on after you started answering, but
I hadn't
you were
finished.
saying yes. You were saying.
I didn't add anything.
Do you think God could have sex with a woman? And Anthony was saying, if that were part of his plan, that once he had entered creation as Jesus of Nazareth, then as a human being, he would have the ability to do that. Something
So,
like
so
that.
let me say this.
Interesting. That's a new thing too. I've never heard a Christian say that before.
Let me
So
explain
let me-
something. Can I say this? No, I didn't get to finish because we got.
But see, he and
we
then.
got.
You're answering him, so maybe
Yeah.
do
Go
that
ahead.
at home.
No, come on. We can have fun here,
Okay,
guys.
go ahead.
It doesn't
Have
have
fun.
to
Let's
be
have fun.
Yeah.
I'm having fun.
Yeah. So let me explain something about our view of morality. And I don't know where you're at on this with,
Find out.
in terms of the nature of man, right? Obviously, we all agree man's a creature who's dependent on God, doesn't exist apart from God. Would stop to exist if God willed him to stop existing, right? Man, if God willed for man to stop existing, he would stop existing. Right?
You want me to?
No. But what I'm getting at is this: we believe man was made in the image of God. And so man is to reflect God in his character. Image doesn't mean man looks like God, right? That's not what we mean. But we believe that man has certain characteristics that are, man, unlike other creatures, can reason, can know its creator, can worship him, at least in the way that man can. That's not true. You know, other creatures, I'm not saying everything glorifies God. We all agree on that, right? What I'm getting at is the morality that we have is a reflection of what God is like. The reason we're to have no other gods is because there are no other gods, right?
Yeah, I'm with that.
That's the
One
first
God.
commandment, right?
No kids,
Second
no
commandment.
parents.
Second commandment is don't worship idols or worship God. We would say, in fact, if you're Salafi, you're closer to my view on this. We're not to worship God in any other way other than what He has commanded. Right? We agree on that.
I'm
right?
just listening.
Right. Okay. Well, I think we agree on that. I'm just going to tell you. Like we can't invent
You're Salafi?
things. We can't. You could say I'm a Salafi version of Christianity.
We agree that if we
I don't-
we agree that if we were Muslims, we'd probably be Salafi.
How about this? How about we agree, when you become Muslim, you'll become Salafi. How's that?
You become reformed.
Reformed in Islam. All right,
so,
go ahead.
So what I'm getting at then is that what we have in morality are a reflection of what God expects us to be like as His creatures, as His image bearers.
I'm going to disagree, but I'm going to let you finish. Out of respect.
But so you understand, the reason why I say that there's nothing that God approves of that if He became a human being, He would live by that same law. He would reflect that in His character. He wouldn't be an atheist, right? He wouldn't be an idolater.
That didn't even make sense. How could you be atheist and you are
Exactly,
God?
exactly.
So let me,
so I'm telling you, it reflects
Can I
His
respond
character.
now?
But this responds to you. This responds to you asking if God became a human being. At least this is what I was thinking you were asking. Would this be possible for Him to do? And I'd say yes.
Okay, now he gets 3 minutes or whatever.
It's all right,
Okay,
it's all right.
that's good.
Let's just,
I didn't know you were timing. I thought
Yeah,
you
it
were.
was. It was
That's actually
unfair.
good.
It was
That's actually
unfair.
good.
That's good. That's
it's
good.
okay. You guys can speak. Don't
You're
worry about
definitely going to want to do that when Sam comes over. He's going to. Yeah.
it. He yaps a lot.
You say like 2 minutes, 2 minutes,
Everybody.
2 minutes, something like that.
David Wood is saying Sam yaps a lot. I got you.
Sam will talk your ears off, just so you know.
I got to invite you for tea, man. We're cool. All right. You too, Anthony.
Thank you.
We got to even it out.
Thank you. Oh yeah, even it out.
All right, so God, the Creator, has His set of rules that are separate from us, the creation. Okay? Even if God, na'udhu billah, like we seek refuge from Allah from this kind of thing, even if you try to say that God was on earth, I don't believe that God needed to poop or pee or rest or get angry and lose his senses as humans do. For example, let me finish. There is what we call pleading insanity, right? Like if you go to court and let's say you're married, like for example, and you come home and you find some dude in bed with your wife. You're like, this is crook, homie. Like you get crazy on him, you beat him, right? And you go to court and they say, hey, you know what, you beat a person. You would say, well, I was out of my senses. In a human court, we would accept that. We'd say, hey, temporary insanity. We plead insanity, right? We would accept that's human. Right? So that's moral because you didn't know what you were doing. I don't believe that that's God's morality. God's above all of that. Let me finish, Anthony.
Yeah.
What am I at, right?
1.5.
1.5. Right? So when God created humans, He made the rules and regulations like marriage and inheritance and sexual intercourse and needs and desires, and sex is a desire. Getting hungry, getting tired, losing your senses because you're so hungry you need to eat. Those are human qualities. We don't give those to Allah. So that's why we would not agree on that.
But you didn't even represent my point accurately.
Oh, okay.
My point had to do with morality, and probably.
I did too. I talked about morality.
So-
For example, somebody pleading insanity.
So I don't
we
see-
morally accept.
But I don't think we should morally accept that.
Really? Okay. So let me understand your point.
A person is either, if a person happens upon somebody sleeping with his wife, he's either justified in taking the person's life or he isn't.
Okay. So let's talk about it. Anthony, you come home.
Yeah, I'm saying
And
he's
you
either
some dude in bed with your wife. What would you do?
He's either justified
What would
in
you
doing
do?
it. Well, but that's a different question.
What?
Because
you don't want to answer it now?
No. We're asking about the question of what's moral. It's not what would you do.
What would you do?
Surely
Because you would act
surely
morally.
you don't think I'm the standard of morality, right?
Well, I think you're somebody who tries to be moral.
Of
I
course,
hope.
of course.
Do
But let's-
you try to live a moral life?
But both of us recognize we're creatures. We make mistakes. We're fallible. We're sinful.
Exactly.
Yes.
And God is not.
Right.
So
as
those-
part of
those
as
feelings-
God, he's
Good.
He's eternal,
Perfect.
immutable.
He
all
doesn't
those
get
things.
hungry.
That's right.
He doesn't get tired.
But that's
he doesn't
not,
need to go to
those
the
aren't-
bathroom.
Those aren't moral issues.
No, but this again. So that's the thing. He doesn't lose his ability to judge, right?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
I wouldn't say
so
that
if
Jesus
you,
did.
so when a human being does at certain times, right?
But you're
And
we were
morally-
talking about morality.
I'm talking about morality.
You're
Anthony.
talking about pooping and peeing.
No. Let's talk about this. Okay? Let's say somebody he is unable to. Are you looking over there? or
I'm
looking
hearing
over
you,
here?
but I heard that.
All right.
I'm protecting you.
Don't worry about it.
I'm making
Allah
sure.
protects us. Don't worry about it.
But
right?
maybe He protects you by using this catheter.
A future Muslim, inshallah. All right. So let's take this, okay? You get somebody moral, right? A moral human being, okay?
You think
Go.
Jesus was moral?
I believe Isa ibn Maryam was very moral.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay? Now, if you take a moral human being, as a human being, he can make mistakes, right? Human beings can't make mistakes.
Yeah, but that's a false.
I
Wait,
just said as a human being we can make
we
mistakes.
can no, but you were saying you were using this to talk about Jesus.
You
I'm
brought
saying
Jesus.
no.
I'm saying as a human
But
being.
Jesus did not.
Okay, so let's just talk about human.
Do you think Jesus sinned at all, according to the Quran?
I don't believe that I have any hadith or ayah in the Quran that mentions
But we
Jesus.
agree on that.
Let me finish. Jesus sinning, but could he, as a human being, make a mistake in judgment? He could. Any human being can.
Does the Quran say that Jesus could make a mistake?
So let me explain, right? خلق الإنسان ضعيفا, for example, right? Insan has weaknesses. That's in the Quran. And Jesus, if you and me, and at least as a Muslim, I can say he was insan, he was human, then the Quran tells us he has weaknesses. But Allah has no weaknesses. Separation, right? Now you feel me. So as a human being, we make mistakes. We make lapses in judgment that morally we're not held accountable for. Right? That's a lapse in judgment. We're talking about morality now. I'll give you another example. You're driving, right? And you are going a certain speed. You see somebody crossing. You think that at a certain break point, you're good. You try to brake, but you still hit it. It's an accident, right? You made a lapse in judgment. You go to court, you say, I tried, they came out of nowhere, I tried to brake as best as I could, I made a lapse in judgment, and the court tells you, you made a lapse in judgment, but it's not a sin. It's not a criminal act. You didn't intend for it to be. So you get a pass because you're human. God is not like that. God is perfect. God's judgments are perfect. He doesn't have that human shortcoming of lapse in judgment.
Okay, and my response to that is, you're working in terms of an understanding of human nature from the Christian perspective, which is post-fall. Man is not post-fall. You know that we don't agree on the fall, but you know what that is, right? The fall. God made man. God made Adam. Adam sinned against God. God didn't make Adam as an already guilty individual. Adam was upright.
Okay, I just want to understand this then. So God made Adam, right? And he had the ability to make judgment.
Yes.
And can I finish? So when he chose to eat, I'm sorry.
What I'm getting at is, you're taking what's true of mankind by virtue of the fall, and you're now applying that to Jesus. I don't think Jesus made errors in judgment. I don't think that he made moral mistakes. I don't think he made any mistakes. And I don't think the Quran says he does. In fact, I think the Quran makes him an exception to the rule. So all I'm getting at is these sorts of arguments against the Incarnation don't really work. When we say that God became man, and you object and say, but God can't eat, I'm saying you're missing the point. He's eating because he became man. It's only if God can't become man that he can't eat. So that's not an argument against the idea that God could become man. And so all you're giving me are arguments that presuppose or beg the question against the Incarnation. You understand what I'm saying? Or at least what I think,
Again, so let's go back to this again,
Okay.
right? Saying that God needs to go to the bathroom, right? To me, is against the nature of God. He doesn't have needs. He doesn't. Let me finish now, bro. How long was that, right?
I'm putting my finger up.
Right. Keep your finger up the whole time. How about that,
There
right?
you go. Hey, don't you have that on your
Shahada finger.
yeah?
Take a picture. Future Muslim right here. I feel you. All right. So, now when you say God having to go to the bathroom is against the point, that is the point, that God doesn't have those weaknesses that humans have. Those are against the nature of God, to have to use the bathroom, to have to sleep because he's tired, to have to worry about making the right judgment because he hasn't had enough nutrition. those things, to me, those things in God's perfect nature cannot mix, just as we would say, at least David said, that it would be against the nature of God to get married and have sex, and you said it would be, so I don't know, you guys can work that out at home, but I think that is not the nature of God to have those necessities.
Now, you're only reiterating the point that I was asking you to address. The issue that we're trying to discuss is whether or not God could become man. God could become incarnate. You're raising objections that presuppose that he couldn't already. Okay? So that's not an argument against it. That's known in logic as begging the question. So you're saying God as God doesn't eat, doesn't sleep, doesn't die. I agree. It's by virtue of the incarnation that God eats, sleeps, dies, and so forth. So that's not an argument against the possibility of God becoming man. That's an argument that assumes he couldn't become man. Okay? Understand? So for example, if our argument was, could I get married and have children? And then, you're arguing that I can't, and I'm arguing that I can, and you keep arguing that you can't get married and have children because right now you don't have any children, you're not married, and so forth. That wouldn't be an argument against whether I could or couldn't get married and have children. It'd just be an argument that right now I'm not married and couldn't have children. So what I'm asking you to address is the fundamental point: could God become incarnate? Not repeat. If God would be going to the bathroom, God would eat, God would sleep, God would die, God would rise again, right? Victorious over death, as proof against the incarnation, because that all presupposes the incarnation, and it begs the question that we're actually trying against a lot of people.
Let me say this again, because I think when me and David were talking, you kind of zoomed out because I addressed. So the question here, again, gets to be one of those things that, can God make a rock he can't lift? Well, we would answer that by saying that's against the nature of God being all-powerful, right?
I would say I would say that's it's absurd.
Can?
No, it makes no sense to ask.
Exactly.
No, listen. I'm saying that those two things, a rock so heavy, making a rock so heavy you can lift it, you're asking if he can perform. Illogical feats are not feats at all.
Thank you.
Right? That's what you're asking.
Exactly.
But
That's my point.
I don't think God. But see, I don't think that God becoming a human being
is exactly the same
to
thing.
that. You do,
Yeah.
and that's why I'm asking you to demonstrate that.
Excellent.
And all you're doing is begging the question.
No, I'm not. Let me explain
are.
it again, okay? When I asked David, for example, could we say that God gets a wife and has sex and has children and things like that? You said that would be against the nature of God, right?
I meant like God just
Yeah,
like
we're
coming
talking
down and
about
doing
God.
something like.
Yeah.
But I would agree with Anthony's answer that if God had decided after the incarnation to do that, then he'd be able to do that sort of thing.
Now we're saying God could get married and have sex and have children.
I would say if God wanted to do that, and that was part of his eternal plan or something like that, he could do
Let me
it.
ask you a simple question, right? Because let's say a guy comes up to you right now in Balboa Park, right? There's all kinds of relatives here, right? And he comes and tells you, hey, God's married to my mom and has sex with her every night, right? For example, right? Would you believe that?
You want the answer? My answer would be this, and I think this is something that we should have been discussing already.
Excellent.
We believe that we don't know anything about God apart from God's own voluntary revelation of himself.
Excellent.
So we are all beholden to him. Right? We are dependent on him for life and breath as well as anything we know about him. Right? And anything we know about him that's true is what he's told us. Anything we think we know independently of that is not something we can know to be true. Now, so what I'm getting at is, in the Bible, God revealed himself through the prophets and prepared the world for just what happened in the incarnation. When it says in Galatians 4, for example, that in the fullness of time God sent forth his Son, born of a woman, made under the law, so that he might redeem those who were under the law, right? This is the point of the incarnation. When he says that, this happened in the fullness of time, he's saying that this is the outworking, the culmination, the fulfillment of what had been revealed through the prophets in long ages past. Among those passages that teach that, you have, for example, and I know you've heard some of these, Isaiah 9:6, that he would be the mighty God. Jeremiah 23:6 said that the child that would be born would be Jehovah, our righteousness. Malachi 5:2 says that he would be the one whose origins are eternal, right? He has no beginning, no end. He's from of old. So those are the sorts of things that, for me, are necessary in order to adopt this belief, so that when he fulfills these things, I say, okay, that's the one who was announced. This guy popping up out of the middle of nowhere is not showing up in the fullness of time.
Okay.
He's not fulfilling prior prophecy.
Okay.
He's not doing the sorts of things that the Old Testament shows God could do. God appeared to Abraham in Genesis 18. God appeared to Moses in Exodus 3, to numerous prophets. In the Christian view, those things were not only not impossible for God, he revealed that these were possibilities and that they would be a future actuality when Jesus became flesh.
Anthony, with all due respect, that was just preacher mode.
That was explaining to you. That was explaining.
The question again is about that possibility. So if somebody comes and tells you that, right, other than saying that it's not in the Bible, right, which obviously it's not because it's post-Bible, would you say conceptually that makes sense, that God comes, got married to his mom, and hits it every now and then?
In principle, I've already answered you saying that the Incarnation happened. God became flesh in the womb of Mary and was born of her,
So you're
and
saying,
fulfilled the prophetic scriptures.
okay,
You're asking me if some guy popped up out of the blue.
yes,
I think it would be a natural reaction to that sort of thing if you don't have word from God, century after century, preparing the world for this very event.
gotcha.
So when it happens, and then that man, on top of everything else, lives a perfect life.
So again, you're
And
avoiding the question.
on top, I'm not avoiding the question. This is the logic of Christianity. This is how it works.
That's the problem.
Well, you think it's a problem,
I mean-
but you've yet to demonstrate it. You've begged the question, but you haven't answered it.
Look, it's a very simple question, and you're going all around it, right? The thing is, you know, and I know that, and David knows.
Are you going to do a
as well.
Jedi mind trick now?
No,
Yeah,
you don't
okay,
see
go,
me here.
go ahead.
Right?
You know, come
You know,
on.
and
You know
let's
in
be
your heart of
honest,
hearts.
right?
Let's be honest.
Let's be honest,
See,
right?
it's a
If
Jedi
some
mind
dude
trick.
walks up right now and tells you that, you're going to be like, you don't know what you're talking about, right? You're going to tell him God doesn't come and get married to your mom. You're just making the stuff up, right? This is something that is not in Scripture. You would go into your whole thing, but you would not believe that because you know that's not the nature of God to be getting a wife here and a wife there and having kids here and half there. God is above all of that, right?
You're just imputing beliefs to me, though. You're just imputing
Can I
stuff.
add a
Yeah.
possible example real quick? Because I think, well, let me give you an example. If someone came up to me and said that they have a time machine in their pocket, okay, I would not believe it for a second.
Okay.
It's not because I don't believe it's possible. It's just, I believe that's extraordinarily unlikely, and you would have to provide me with some very good evidence
Excellent.
for
Okay.
that, right?
Good.
If someone came up to me and they said they have a square circle in their pocket, I would regard that as impossible.
Thank you.
So
With it.
yeah. So what
When you
I'm
get with it,
so
then I'll
notice
give you-
those are two things. One is it's extraordinarily improbable given everything else I believe.
Right.
That's one thing. And then there's things that I would just regard as possible. If you say, hey, there's a married bachelor over there, so I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about.
Exactly.
Right? If you say, you know, anyway.
That's good. That's good. Excellent
If someone were to come up and say, you know, something about someone being incarnate or something like that. Now we're Christians, so we believe in that revelation. We believe in the revelation we have, so we don't believe that sort of thing is going to happen. So we would dismiss it on that. As far as if we
you would dismiss it on basically your belief.
yeah.
Okay,
No,
okay,
but
hold on.
not an
Let me
unjustified
respond
belief.
to-
Yeah,
Not an
Can
unjustified
I respond to him now?
Yeah.
Well, I wasn't finished.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, don't interrupt him.
Yes. Yeah, so what I'm saying is, in other words, since we're Christians, we believe that God has sent his revelation and there's no more incarnations or anything coming along, right? So we would say, oh, we're Christians, we believe that. But if we weren't Christians and we were just saying, hey, if God has the power to do what he wants, if God wanted to enter creation and do this, our point is we wouldn't say, I reject that because it's an impossibility or a contradiction. We would say, that sounds really far-fetched, so you're going to have to give me some really good evidence. We wouldn't regard it as a contradiction. In other words, Anthony's point, what he was saying about all this background knowledge and prophecies and so on, is he's saying we do have good evidence, and so that's why we wouldn't dismiss it. Because if someone just came along and said, "Hi, I'm Jesus. I'm the divine Son of God who entered into creation," we would say, "No, what are you talking about, man?"
Can I speak now? Are you done? Thank you. So that is exactly the point. To me, as a Muslim, and this is what we're discussing here, to me, to say God is a part of the creation in the sense that he is human, that he goes to the bathroom, that he has to go to that he has those human flaws, that Jesus would have had as a human being, not moral flaws, right? We're talking about just physical flaws that we have as humans. To me, it's just like you saying a square circle. To me, I see no difference.
You're saying like contradiction.
It's apples and oranges, right? Humans, right? Humans have these weaknesses, right? Even if you take Adam before the fall, right? Obviously, he had some inclination to make a mistake, and that's why he ate from the tree that he shouldn't have, right? So that means by nature, even before the fall, he had that weakness to make that mistake. But Allah doesn't. The Creator does not. The Creator does not cry out and say, my God, my God. This is a human attribute where you are calling out to your Creator, right? Now, if the Creator is God Himself, He doesn't call out to Himself. He doesn't say, my God. Like you never see the Father in the Bible saying, my God, right? David?
So, well, yeah.
Let him, I asked David, bro, Anthony, David. Is your name David? I said, right, David?
So, well, we were talking. He was just.
Well, he made a point, so I responded to his point.
He made a good point. I agree with him, so I'll take that as a response to me.
I was going to jump in with that.
Oh, okay.
Example.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Oh yeah, so something that I don't know your beliefs about the Quran, and I'm not changing subject. I'm just, yeah, I've got it for like the last.
No, I just asked you a question right now.
Yeah, it would make sense for the Father to cry out, my God, right? But that's no.
Apart from becoming incarnate.
Yeah, apart from becoming.
No,
Yeah,
I'm
apart
saying
from
for the
becoming
Father.
incarnate.
Yeah.
Do you ever see the Father saying, my God?
He refers to the Son as.
Man, David, you got like a ridiculous or something? Like you pull strings?
Why are you so afraid to hear a couple people?
I will talk to you.
It's not like I'm going to let you talk too.
I'm going to let him talk first, and then I'll talk to you. No, I've been talking this whole time. So the question, David, is: do you ever find the Father saying, "My God"?
He calls Jesus God.
My God?
No, if you're talking about Jesus crying out, "My God," you say no. The Father doesn't do that, right?
Okay,
you're right. We don't believe.
Gotcha. So the Father, then that's the nature of the Creator. He doesn't call out. He is the one you call out to. That's the nature of God. And the nature of humans is we have weaknesses, so we call out to our Creator. Right? This is the exact point you're missing. Right? Humans have those shortcomings, those needs, those necessities that the Creator doesn't. So the Creator doesn't call out and say, my God, why have you forsaken me? But a human would.
Yeah, and so this, yeah,
He was human.
Yeah, and so,
but he was God.
I just wanted.
He became flesh.
But he was completely God.
You don't realize you're begging the question.
I wanted
Just
to.
the logical
I'm
fallacy.
making a very clear distinction.
I want to give an example. So I don't know exactly what you believe about the Quran and the speech
I believe in the
of speech of
Quran,
Allah and so on.
Allah.
Yeah. But lots of Muslims tell me that Allah's speech is eternal, co-eternal with Allah.
Sure.
And this isn't. I'm not changing the subject here. This is an example. This is an example of what we're talking about.
listening.
So, if the Quran is Allah's eternal speech, then if you were to say, hey, does it make sense does the Quran have a beginning? Something like that. I would say, no, if it's eternal, then it has no beginning.
Right.
If you said, can it be corrupted? I would say, no, it's divine. It can't be corrupted, right? So if you were to ask these kinds of questions, I would say, as far as the eternal speech of Allah or an attribute of God, I would say, those kinds of things, it doesn't make sense to raise those kinds of questions, right? But if you were to say to me that we have a physical Quran, right? That this doesn't have the Arabic in it, but assuming this had the Arabic in it, that we have a physical copy of the Quran.
Excellent.
Then it seems like the physical copy of the Quran would kind of have two natures. It's the eternal speech of Allah, and yet it's entered our world because we have a physical world. It's entered our world as a physical book made of paper and glue and ink. And therefore, if you were to ask me, does it make sense to talk about this as having a beginning, or about this being corrupted and changed and so on, then I would say, yes, it's a physical book. Of course, it can fall apart. It eventually will. You mentioned earlier that people can eat it or burn it or all kinds of things. And so it makes sense to talk about it makes sense to talk about a physical Quran. So in other words, I would say that a book that has two natures, that it's the eternal speech of Allah entered into creation in a physical form so that we can have it, it now makes sense to talk about this having a beginning, and I'm assuming it has a publication date. So it now makes sense to talk about this having a publication date. It now makes sense. It didn't make sense before when you're talking about the speech of Allah before it comes into creation. Once it enters into creation, now we can ask these questions. But if I were to take your objection seriously, I would have to say, no, it's absurd to talk about these eternal things that can't be corrupted, being corruptible, having a beginning, having an end, falling apart. That makes no sense of the eternal speech of Allah.
Excellent. Are you playing chopsticks? Oh no, you got music. You don't do music.
You're doing this. I'll let you play the music for us. All right.
I don't know how to play music.
Come on, learn. All right. So now, excellent answer. I appreciate that. Right? So let's go to that. Right? The Quran is Kalam Allah. Right? The Quran will never call out to Allah. Okay? Now, in the Quran, you will never say the. Take it easy. Take it easy. Take it easy.
Is that true?
Take it easy. Take it easy, Anthony.
Is it true?
Hold it together, Cook.
Can you repeat
Hold it
that?
together.
Can you repeat it?
I will.
Repeat that.
I will. Okay. The Quran itself is Kalam Allah. Right? The Quran responds, for example, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, right? But the Quran does not speak to Allah. It is the speech of Allah. Allah teaches us, for example, adiyah, which are called dua, supplications, for us to use to call to Allah, right? But let me finish, bro. Take it easy. Yeah, I got it. Okay, so now, when you say this has a publication date, none of us standing here as Muslims will say this is a part of the creator, right? This here is a published book. That's why the Quran is recited and the Quran is revealed. It was never sent just like a book, right? Because then that book, once it hits the earth, then that would be part of the worldly things. That's why Imam al-Bukhari has a book called خلق أفعال العباد, where he talks about the recitation or the paper or the ink is not what is Quran. Quran is what is revealed. And before the Day of Judgment, it will be taken up. And that revelation can never be corrupted. That revelation is always preserved. And that revelation doesn't weaken. You understand what I'm saying? Now, when you talk about Jesus now, on the other hand, when you say that he came and he became human, but then at the same breath you say that he's always one. God is not divisible. So you're saying that that is God himself, even though he's human, and even though he is God, the Father and him are the same thing, but he's saying, oh my God, why have you forsaken me? That makes absolutely no sense.
Okay, great. So you've said the fact that Christ, the second person of the Trinity, Son of God, by virtue of becoming human and crying out to the Father, that there's a problem with that, a logical problem, and that's not something that Islam has to do with. Now, number one, I don't think that's a logical problem, but number two, I also don't think that's true Islamically. So I'd like you to tell me where I may have that wrong. I don't think I do, but I grant that you're the Imam, right? So, my understanding, which I have from other Muslims, which is part and parcel of why I hold that, and have read in the Islamic sources, that the Quran itself does intercede for Muslims, or will, on the Day of Judgment, right? The Quran will appear as a pale man and will say that he was the Muslim's companion in life and will intercede for him. Is that not correct?
Can you give me a reference for that?
That's in the hadith.
Which hadith?
Seriously, you don't think I'm going to go back? I mean, like, I don't know.
Are you saying that's not in the hadith?
That is not in any authentic hadith that I've ever read.
So you'd say it's not authentic? Oh, that's fine. If you say it's not authentic,
hold on, take it easy. So, to say the Quran will appear as a pale man, and what did you say it would be with
the Quran will intercede for Muslims and will say that it
as
was,
a pale man.
Well, that's in a Tirmidhi hadith, for example.
Let's just, I can look for it. Let's look for it. No, hold on. Because see, I like to discuss on evidences. So can I find a hadith in a Tirmidhi that says the Quran will be a pale man? Let's just find that and then I will explain from there.
Okay, so, but that kind of misses the point that I'm making. You're focused on the pale man part, but I think you and I both know that it's classically Islamic to say the Quran will intercede.
So let me explain the shifa of the Quran?
Yeah. So explain that.
Excellent. The Quran is Kalamullah.
You said. Huh? You told us that part.
That's part of the explanation.
Okay,
Take it
go
easy,
ahead.
Okay. the Quran that is read by us. Right? When we read the Quran, that Kalamullah will be a evidence for us. Do you understand what I mean? That the fact that we stayed up at night and read the Quran will make shifa, it will be an intercession. It will not be asking Allah for help or asking Allah separately than anything. It is only the fact that that good deed will be an intercession for you. Like if you had read the actual hadith, it talks about the Quran and another hadith about the siyam, the fasting. Right? We don't say fasting by itself is an entity, but it's the deed that is that intercedes for you.
So does the hadith say that the deed of reciting the Quran will intercede for you, or does the hadith say the Quran will intercede?
Again, so this is the thing. When you say Al-Quran was Siyam, these two will be shifa. They will be an intercession. Right? So what does that mean? That it is that deed of reading the Quran. Do you understand what that means now?
I understand what you're claiming. That's just not what the
So
hadith
let's see
says.
that.
I searched for it. The first one that popped up, I know it's in Tirmidhi, but the first one that popped up was in Ibn Majah.
So in Tirmidhi, there is no such hadith that says the Quran.
There is. That's just the first one that popped up when I
So
did
can
search
we
for
look
it.
at the Tirmidhi one first?
Okay, I'll find the
I just
Tirmidhi.
want
But
to see.
notice, the Ibn Majah version says the Quran will come on the day of resurrection like a pale man and will say, I am the one that kept you awake at night and made you thirsty during the day.
Excellent, excellent. So let's now go to. Hold on, take it easy.
Are you trying to see this?
No, take it easy. This is why.
You're not seriously going to go to Google Translate, are you?
Nope.
Okay. I know you know
You're funny.
Arabic. I know you know Arabic.
You don't
but
have Arabic keyboard?
No.
Okay. I was just going to show you the takhrij. You know what takhrij is? Okay. The checking of the narration.
Okay.
This narration of Ibn Majah is a very weak narration.
They didn't grade it this week.
Can you show me their grading?
Yeah, it's in Hassan.
Just hit back.
It's in Arabic now.
You just ruined his phone. You can't see anything in English
he'll
now.
Where does it say Hasan? No, this is Dar es Salaam's grading, right? So this is not Sunnah.com, just a website. Okay?
So Dar es Salaam.
Dar es Salaam is a publishing house, right? That's not the
Yeah,
grading.
but they gave the rating according to Hadith scholars, right? They're not just making it up.
No. So we need to. I know this hadith, and that's why I was telling you, right? And I can show you the weakness in it if you like. Dar es Salaam is a publishing house, not a scholar itself, right? Their grading by itself is not a hujjah, it's not an evidence. You have to look at the evidence from the scholars of hadith. That's what I'm saying? That's why I asked you, right? Now, if you like, and if you, how long are you going to send me?
So just
let me just finish. How long are you going to send me?
we're leaving tonight.
I was going to invite you to my house. I have a bimaj.
Man, I appreciate the fact that you would have invited
You got
us.
dinner, you got tea, I got you. Right? And I would sit with you and explain to you from the Sharh of Ibn Majah why this hadith is da'if actually. Because I teach Aqidah and I taught the subject. Okay? In the authentic narration, and again, this is not a Tirmidhi about it anyway. Let me see the Tirmidhi riwayah. You said you had a Tirmidhi riwayah?
So I
I
can.
said I have to search for it.
I'll wait. In the authentic narration, it does not mention the pale man. That's why I was trying to explain to you. Rather, the Quran and its shifa is from the one who stayed up at night. So the shifa is the Quran asking intercession from the deed of you staying up night. You understand the understanding, right?
Yeah.
Now, when you look at Jesus calling out on the cross, according to the Bible that you believe in, right? Saying, oh my God, why have you forsaken me? That is not about a deed that you did. That is one entity calling out to another entity for help and asking, why have you forsaken me? Is that correct or wrong?
So that you know, I'm not saying I have any problem with that. I absolutely affirm that.
So
the second
affirm-
person of the Trinity took on a human nature.
So he was
and
no
by
longer God.
virtue, no, he was both God and man, and by virtue of the Incarnation, was able to call out to the Father as God. So
Okay, so I want to understand.
I wasn't trying to give an apology.
Okay,
for
so
that.
I want to
absolutely
understand.
affirm that.
Okay, so let me understand what you affirm. You're saying Jesus came to earth and became a man.
Absolutely.
So was he that all-powerful, all-being, has no need to God at that time or not?
He was both God and man.
Again, that's like a square circle,
You
right?
could say that's like a square circle.
Because God has no needs, right?
As his divine nature, so think of it this way. I mean, it's not that hard, really.
It is hard. It's confusing. It's like a square circle.
You're asserting that it is. But
To me,
there hasn't been a demonstration of that. What I'm getting at is as God. So as an example, you think man has a soul? man has a body,
Yes.
right? Your soul and your body are not the same thing. They're both you.
True.
We don't want to get into a whole tangent here.
I'm with you.
But there are things that are true of you bodily that aren't true of you in terms of your soul or spirit.
Okay.
Right? If your body dies, does your soul die?
No.
No. As Christians, we believe Christ is both God and man, just like man is body and soul. Right? Man has those two constituent elements. But so all I'm saying is, although the attributes of Christ as God are such as he is omniscient, omnipotent, omnibenevolent, all of these things, his human attributes and qualities are most definitely character. He's in one place at one time. He gets hungry. He slept. He wept. He died.
Did he go to the bathroom?
He absolutely did.
God went to the bathroom.
Yeah. God became flesh,
I went to the bathroom.
dwelt among us, and
Did he get diarrhea?
secured self. He died on the cross. What more do you want than
That's
that?
pretty.
What more do you want than that, huh?
You are Muslim, aren't you?
Huh?
This
He
is the
died on the
secret,
cross.
right?
You're
he
looking,
got tortured.
Yeah. Absolutely. He got
God
his beard
got
plucked
tortured.
out.
God.
Beard plucked out. His
Ooh.
back was whipped.
Gotcha.
Huh? Yeah.
And he cried out to who?
He cried out to his father.
But he didn't say Father. He said God.
But his
said,
father
"My God."
is God. That's
But he is God.
yes.
That
He
doesn't
is.
make sense now.
Now you're saying it doesn't make sense.
That
but
doesn't make
we already
sense.
talked about that earlier.
Yeah, but and it didn't make sense earlier.
No.
But let me,
Well, then it doesn't make sense to say Allah has sifat.
of course it does.
No.
Allah's
You can't
sifat
say of
are a
course
part of Him.
Christ
Allah's
is a part of the Father.
But Allah's
and his essence.
sifat don't separate. Allah's sifat don't need to go to the bathroom.
The Son, Allah's sifat.
Uh-huh.
Huh? You believe that the Quran is the
Again,
instantiation in some
I
sense?
just told you earlier.
No, I heard what you said.
No, you didn't.
I did.
No Muslim says that this right in your hand is a part of Allah.
Well, first of all, that's not even an error.
Exactly. So for
So
you to lift this up doesn't make any
well,
sense, right?
but you
Let me-
knew what I
let me-
meant.
I
This
do.
represents that.
And I will tell you, as I told David, when you didn't listen, I guess, but I'll say it again. You guys, all right,
No, I'm
great,
listening
all
to you,
right.
but I'm also finding what you want because I can do it
Excellent.
really quickly.
Okay, so now the issue gets to be the sifat of Allah are a part of Allah. Even if Allah revealed, you understand the difference in revealing and becoming separate, right? The sifat of Allah never have weaknesses. You can burn the written copy because that's not the Quran. The Quran is what is recited. It cannot be corrupted. Somebody can make a mistake in their reading, but their reading is not the sifat of Allah. Now Jesus saying, "My God."
Jesus, human nature, is not part of his divine essence.
Okay, so that's the confusing part here because you're saying that the soul is a part of me. Without the soul, I can't exist.
Right?
Right?
But you are your soul.
You are.
your
Thank you.
soul.
So if you are your soul, and then Jesus is his soul, and you're saying that's God. So for God to be now saying "my God" makes that doesn't make sense.
No. But you misunderstood me. I think Christ has both a human soul and a human body, and his divine nature. Man is both
Christ
body and soul.
is three things.
No, well, this is classic Christianity.
This is extra.
If you're just learning this,
I'm just learning it from you.
Okay, good.
Because you're such a good explainer.
This is classic Chalcedonian. You've heard of
Excellent.
Chalcedon, right?
I have.
Chalcedon was a Christian creed, 451. The classic Chalcedonian statement is just like man is body and soul, God and man is one Christ.
Let me just ask that.
But here,
I want to understand that. Let me just understand. Okay. So Christ, according to you, he was human. He had a soul.
real body and soul. Human.
And he was God. That's three things in Christ.
So he has all the attributes of humanity, body and soul, and he has a divine nature.
That's what I just said, right?
So human nature and divine nature.
So he has a soul.
Absolutely.
When was his soul created?
So again, the soul of Christ it's human.
Okay.
Right?
So when was his human soul created?
Christ became man when he became incarnate in the womb of
So
Mary.
the soul.
The question
It's
is
a very simple question. It's okay. Nobody else can. Go ahead.
Yeah.
When was his soul created? The soul of Christ.
I'm saying that the humanity of Christ, body and soul,
Yes.
starts at the point of conception, virgin birth.
Okay. Can you give me any reference in the Bible about when the soul of Jesus was created, as you just gave that answer, but about the soul?
So the Bible teaches that man's soul is formed along with his body. It's formed within him. So
Okay,
Psalm
man.
Psalm 139,
Okay.
among others, talks about the fact that God knits people together in their mother's womb. This is, from the Christian perspective, the time when man himself comes into existence.
So Jesus came into existence as a man.
It's human nature.
So Jesus' soul.
Zechariah 12:10 also makes or 12:1.
Those are not about Jesus, right?
Well,
Those are
those are about
human
You
beings.
asked about souls and bodies.
I asked you about Jesus' soul
Right.
particularly.
So, just like you reasoned earlier
Okay.
from the general to the particular,
I'm with you.
all I'm saying is,
So you're saying the general rules about humanity are why you're taking the fact in your mind
Because
that
in this
Jesus'
case-
soul came in. So Jesus had no soul until he was in the womb of Mary.
he had no human soul until he
Gotcha. And when he came in the womb of Mary, his soul came into creation.
So, yeah, his body and soul originate at that
Gotcha.
time.
And his body.
And
And
his
when
body.
he died, according to you on the cross, where did his soul go?
His body died, his soul remained united to his divine nature, and he ascended into heaven.
So before that time, there was no soul, but there was Jesus.
Before
and
what
then
time?
before Jesus was born,
Yeah,
he had no soul.
right.
So then God increased the soul of Jesus later. That's what you just said.
That's not at all what I said.
Okay, let me repeat it again.
That's not at all what I
let,
said.
let me say what I said, and you can correct me. Anthony, we got this. Okay.
That's it, but
So
you had the laugh track over here. It wasn't even what I said.
People are laughing. It's okay. So
It wasn't good.
now, when you said that Jesus had no soul before his human conception, right? So there was Jesus, part of God. There was God Himself, and then the Holy Ghost. We're not even going to go there. Okay. Then Jesus came to the womb of Mary, and a soul was created. It didn't exist before. Then you're saying no. Nick? You're saying no.
He's not saying anything.
Okay, I'm sorry. I thought you were shaking your head. Okay, so then Jesus was born with a human soul and a human body and a godly nature, 3 components. Then he goes on a cross and he dies, and his body dies. His soul now, that was newly created, now becomes a part of God. No? That's exactly what you said. But okay, tell
That's
me
not
what you said.
exactly what I
Tell
said.
me what you said.
And just like you said to me earlier, not putting words in your mouth.
I'm not.
Now you
really,
accept from me, I didn't say anything like that. Right?
I got it. You guys got it on video, but
Yeah,
go ahead.
We got it on video.
Good. Say,
Yeah,
tell me again.
What I told you, you said his soul increased, and I never said anything along those lines either. What I said is very clear, and this is just classic Christian theology. Right? Chalcedon is just solidifying what was always taught by Christians. At Chalcedon, it says that Christ took on a true human nature. Human nature is a body-soul entity. Right? Man is an ensouled being, an embodied soul. Okay? So when Christ takes on a human nature, he takes into union with himself a full human nature, body and soul. When the body dies, the soul doesn't cease to exist. And so when Christ died physically, his soul didn't cease to exist. Neither did it separate the union that had already been established at the Incarnation between Christ as a divine person and that human soul. They're still fundamentally united. The soul doesn't become a part of the Godhead, but it still remains a human soul. It never becomes a part of the divine nature.
So you have it on video, and so do we.
Yeah.
But I'm going to repeat this again. Okay, so there was no soul before Jesus was in the womb of Mary, right?
Right.
So Jesus came in the womb. God created a new soul
Yeah.
for Jesus.
Yeah. We don't
Became
think
a part of it.
maybe we have a different conception of what the soul is.
It's okay. Let's just keep going. Soul, body,
Soul and
connected,
body.
okay? He came out on earth. You with me, Anthony?
Yes.
He goes to the cross. He gets killed, according to you.
Everything's free.
Now his
Thank you
soul
so
and
much.
body separate.
I would stay and
His
talk, but I got
soul that was not a part of the God union before, was not a part of Jesus before, where does that soul go?
It remains his soul.
And where does he go?
He goes back to the Father.
So the Father now has an increased soul. You said it, and you said it again,
See, that has
and now
nothing-
you're denying it.
Wait a minute.
All right, Anthony. Thank you.
Wait a minute. When you say you believe that Allah raised Jesus to himself, you believe that eventually someday you guys are all going to go, well, somebody's going to Jannah, right? Somebody's going to
Every
heaven.
Muslim.
Are you going to say they're added to Allah, like they're some part of his nature?
We do not believe.
Because I don't believe that either.
Let me respond. We do not believe we in Jannah are a part of Allah.
And neither do I. But
You said no. But you said Jesus is a
think
part
I'm-
of God.
No.
We're talking about
yeah.
Jesus' soul.
I said.
You got
no,
it, bro. It's
I-
over.
you
It's
think I
over.
did.
Thank you.
You've been asserting and begging the question
We
the
have
whole
Brown
time.
David.
It's
We
over.
You've been,
Thank
we
you've been
have Brown
asserting.
David.
Hold
Brown
on.
Shimon.
Hold on. Yeah. You can get
Thank
Sam.
you.
We'll bring Sam in here in just a second. But we need to be clear here. I never said that Christ's soul becomes part of the deity. That was your claim. That was your claim. You're laughing.
I'm glad this is recorded.
Right? Oh, I'm so glad because I'm going to show this.
So where
man
does that
can
soul
understand
go?
Simple English or
Where does
Christian
soul go?
theology. What does it have to do with where does the soul go?
Jesus' soul, where does it go?
Do you think if somebody's soul goes to heaven, it becomes part of God?
No.
Well, neither do I.
But you said Jesus' soul connected with him. It doesn't separate
I
and goes back to being a
I
part
said-
of God.
But listen,
Come on, you guys
I
gotta
did not
say
say
this.
that it
Come
goes back
on.
to being part of God. You said that, and then you had your laugh track, and then you turned and handed it to the camera.
Where did the
What
soul?
I
Where
told
did
you-
Jesus' soul go?
Okay, now let's be clear. Your assumption is if his soul goes up to heaven, then somehow it becomes
Where
part
does
of the deity.
Jesus' soul go?
Jesus' soul remains forever united to his divine nature.
Okay, where does his divine nature? Is he back to being a part of God?
What do you mean back to being part of God? He never
Wait,
ceased being part of
But
God.
he was human here, right?
As to his divine nature, he's always God. He
Okay.
never ceases to be God.
So then when he got a
When he
soul
takes on
attached to
himself
him,
a human nature, which includes a human soul,
right?
at his death he doesn't cease.
Okay, so that soul is now a part of the divine nature of
No,
Jesus. A part of,
it's
oh yeah,
that soul remains united in his person.
Yes.
It's his soul,
So
but
God-
it's not his divine nature.
So it's a part of him.
That's your disjunct.
Is it a part of God or not?
It is his. He has a
Yeah.
divine nature and a human nature.
Is that soul, because his human body is dead, so his human soul, is it a part of God or not?
It is not a part of his divine nature.
It's
That's
not
what
a part
I'm
of
telling
God
you.
or not?
It's not part of his divine
So
nature.
Jesus' soul is not a part of God.
It's not part of his divine nature. Do you
It's a very
understand the
simple
difference?
question.
It's a very simple
Is it a
answer.
part of God or yes or no?
It's a very simple answer. His soul is his human nature, not his divine nature. Jesus, that person, has two natures, divine and human. You keep wanting to conflate the two.
So-
Christian theology has always said that's not true, and
So
you're
when-
just learning for
when
the first
Jesus
time,
died-
after doing Da'if for so long, for the first time, you're just now learning that's not Christian theology.
Anthony,
We got it on film.
Anthony,
You said it.
Anthony,
You said
this
it.
is the first time, as I said, that the way you're explaining it, right? Because other Christians explain it differently. But
Well, I'm telling you
let me
Orthodox
tell you-
Chalcedonian
okay,
Christology.
Let me tell you this. The question you're not answering, that soul that got created, is that a part of God? Yes or no?
Not in the sense you're asking.
Okay, thank you. So,
Right.
so the soul of Jesus is not a part of God.
In the
Got
sense
it.
that you're asking, that
Thank
you're
you.
assuming it's part of his divine nature.
Okay,
I'm telling
so
you,
you're
it's-
saying Jesus' soul, his human body is dead, but his soul is not a part of God. Thank you. I got it.
absolutely. I mean,
Even
that's
after he died.
That's just classic Christianity.
Even after he died.
Welcome to Christianity 101.
So Jesus' soul is in heaven?
Yes.
So Jesus will be God and his soul will be in heaven.
Why are you doing this?
Because
Is this
God,
YMCA?
you hope you will be in heaven, right?
Yeah, and I'm not going to ever be God.
But your soul
On your
is
assumption,
separate,
if his
right?
soul's in heaven, then it's part of God.
No, I didn't.
Yeah,
I
you
never
did.
said that.
That's your
I
assumption.
never said
That's
that.
the assumption
I
of your
did not
argument.
make that assumption.
That is your assumption.
This is a flat.
That is your
mistruth,
assumption.
I'll say, right?
Then if that's not your assumption, then your argument doesn't follow.
Let me explain it to you again. Okay, let me explain mine. Okay?
Okay.
Let me explain what. You said Jesus did not have a soul before the
Prior to
womb
the
of Mary. Let me speak. Right? Jesus comes to the womb of Mary. God creates a body for Jesus and a soul for Jesus. Now Jesus is a body, a soul, and a divine nature, according to you. Then he lives in life, and he lives with those three components. Now at the cross, according to you, his body dies, right? And his soul and his divine nature go back to being a part of God. So now,
Notice the conjunction, soul and divine nature. Go
what I
ahead.
said.
Okay.
Yeah.
Notice
Go
the
back to
conjunction.
being a part of God.
No, I didn't say that. That's where you keep making the false turn.
So where does the soul go?
You're confusing location with ontology.
Okay.
You seem to think that Christ's location means some fundamental change in his ontology.
Christ on
That's
earth.
just a complete category
Christ
mistake.
on earth
That's
was God
it's
walking
incredibly
around,
irrational.
right?
This whole time in this argument, you've been saying that you object to the incarnation because it's irrational, and now you're being as irrational as possible.
I'm not.
You keep making a false turn that rests on the false assumption that if Jesus goes to the Father, then something about his ontology changes. That's just utterly fallacious.
Okay,
That's just utterly fallacious.
When
Even
Jesus
if you
was
show your
walking,
teeth.
walking around on
Even
earth,
if you show your teeth.
when
I mean,
Jesus
come
was
on.
walking around,
Uh-huh.
was he God himself?
He was both God and man.
Okay, so as God, he was walking on earth
Absolutely.
in a human form
With a human body,
and a
absolutely.
human soul,
And a human soul.
and that changed.
What changed?
When he died on the cross.
His body died and went to the dust. His soul remained his soul, but never his divine nature. It's still not his part of his divine
His
nature.
soul then,
Never becomes part of his divine nature.
so his soul will never be a part of God.
It'll never be a part of his divine nature. Christ is one person, right? Yeah, he's a divine person. He has two natures.
I understand you.
Okay.
I don't agree with it.
Well, okay, well, I didn't expect you to agree at this point, but I'm saying you understand what it is now, though.
David, do you have the same?
You understand at
Do you
this
agree
point
that the soul of Christ is not a part of God?
it's not a part of his divine nature.
You believe that? David would.
That's basic Christianity. I mean,
I mean, many Christians here, preachers and pastors, have said the soul of Christ is a part of God. Right?
Well-
but you're saying it's not. Okay.
But
understand.
see, I don't know how
you're
they
saying
mean
the
it.
soul of Christ was created, and when Christ died, his soul does not become God.
Absolutely not.
Okay. His soul is in heaven.
So let me just say this then. I can't speak for other Christians, right? In this sense, the people you've
Got
talked to, right? I'm not going to say you're misrepresenting them. There are possibilities, right? No. I'm saying they might be speaking less than precisely,
Okay.
or you might be misunderstanding them. I can tell you this, even with all the laugh tracks going on, I can tell you this. Historic, classic Christianity, in terms of its official formal creeds and confessions, teaches exactly what I just told you.
Okay.
Right? The Chalcedonian Creed, which is historic Christianity in its affirmation of the natures of Christ, has always affirmed that Christ had a fully human nature, and those two natures forever are distinct. His human nature could never be his divine nature. Never.
So the soul of Christ is not a part of God.
It's not a part of his divine essence, his nature, right? And let me, this goes back to a fundamental distinction of Christianity that I think we agree on. And you would hold it as a Muslim, not as, I'm not saying you hold this, the creator-creature distinction. There's an absolute distinction between the two.
Yes.
And so as Christians, we affirm that distinction, and we don't believe the Incarnation ever blurs that distinction.
We believe Jesus was a creation. Alaikum salam.
Well, you believe he only was a human being, right?
A creation.
Yeah, and
But
we
you believe he was a creation and the creator.
We believe that he was the
That's
creator who took upon himself a human nature.
So again, that means you
which
mixed
never,
the two.
which never become mixed. Again, if you read the Chalcedonian Creed, it says without admixture, without intermixing. So classic Christianity has always said those two natures remain distinct. They're both natures of the divine word. They belong to the word, but they never become the other. His divine nature forever remains divine. His human nature forever remains human.
But his human nature started at the womb of Mary.
Yes, because it's human.
And his body died.
Body
and his
died.
soul will live, but never be a part of God.
It'll always be united in his one person. It'll never be his divine nature.
In the one person with the Father?
Yeah.
So soul then is now united with the Father.
The Son is always one with the Father.
Okay.
Right? There's no change to the divine nature. You
There
think
is,
there
because you just added a soul to it.
No.
It's united with it, right?
You don't even seem to
Is the
understand.
soul united with Jesus forever or not?
It's hypostatically. It's not ontologically. They don't become fused. I think you're thinking in terms of.
That's what it sounds
There's
like,
some
right?
tangible substance called deity, and there's this other tangible stuff, and they get glued or something.
Let me just explain.
That's not what I'm
because
saying.
This is when your idea of God, right? There are three components, right?
What do you mean by what components are you referring to here?
Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost.
I wasn't sure if you were still talking about Christ, divine nature, human nature.
Oh, that is Christ. One of the three, right?
Up here, yeah. But
Yeah,
I
up
didn't
here.
know what
Okay, I
three
got you.
components you're talking about here.
I get you.
Just trying to be clear.
I like to be clear. So what I'm talking about is God, in your understanding, has three distinct components that come together as one. The Father, the
That would be like us saying you believe that Allah has these components, his face and his shin and so on, that come together as Allah.
It wouldn't,
know.
because
That's
it
what I'm
wouldn't.
saying.
It wouldn't. Let me explain
We
why
don't-
not.
no, but we
because
don't believe
Allah's yed, for example, doesn't detach and come walk around on earth.
But we don't think Christ detached. That's just not our view.
You do say that God took on human form.
Yeah. Human nature.
Okay, so
We also believe that God is everywhere, so there's no detachment.
It's not like when I say took on, that's metaphorical. I don't mean
if God is
somehow
everywhere,
his
then what's the
deity-
difference between you and Jesus, you're both God. God is everywhere, so God's in you, right?
But see, why do basic terms break down like that? You move from saying God is everywhere to saying God is everything. Those are two different terms.
So that's the thing. Jesus was God, you're saying, not present as Jesus. So that's why you're trying to confuse the issue, because there's a distinction. You're saying...
I'm making the distinction, you're not.
I am.
No, you're not.
So when you say God is everywhere,
Yep.
you don't mean He's everywhere in the sense that Jesus was here.
Oh, you
Right?
mean in the sense that Jesus as incarnate?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. Incarnate,
So there is
there's a distinction.
that's your breakdown. Okay, so
Incarnate, there's a
let's take it back to that. So when Jesus was walking around, it is different from God just being everywhere, according to you.
Because there's a hypostatic. You know what the term hypostatic
Yes,
means?
yeah.
Okay. There's a hypostatic union. Hypostatic pertains to his person.
So that means
The person of the Son is not a physical, tangible thing. He can be present without taking up any space. Right? We're not saying he occupies space.
But right now, this here, us walking around, according to you, God is everywhere. and
Upholding
He's
everything.
Excellent, got you. But when Jesus is walking around, now this is different than just saying God is everywhere, because you're saying,
yeah, absolutely.
Thank you. Okay, so when Jesus came to earth, not that he was already everywhere, like that,
No,
he
he is always everywhere.
but there's a difference, right, of Jesus coming physically, right?
Yeah. He's incarnate in the womb, though.
Yes or no?
Right? That flesh doesn't come from heaven.
Thank you. But that connection
Yeah.
is
Starts in
from
the
heaven.
womb. Starts in the womb.
Excellent. So now, when Jesus, according to you, was walking around, he was God walking around, right?
God
In the human form.
and man. He is both God and man
Got
walking
it.
around. Yes.
Got it.
That
So
person.
that is different.
That person.
Excellent. So that is different than right now when you could say God is everywhere, but he's not walking around as a person, right?
Yeah, but the fact that he's everywhere makes that sort of thing possible. Right.
But again, like you said, it is not the same as him just being everywhere regularly.
No, of course not.
Okay, thank you. So, when
That would
God...
destroy the uniqueness of the incarnation.
Exactly, and that's what I'm saying. When I was saying that, you were like, well, he's everywhere anyway.
No.
Like, well, then that doesn't make sense. So, let's go back to that. He's in the womb, and now a soul is created. I was not there before. Right?
Yeah, well, I'm still trying to figure out why we're back here again.
Because you went in a loop, that's why.
No, you went on a loop.
Okay, so let's go back. Okay, that soul gets connected now to God, the Jesus. Right?
Jesus is a
now,
divine person with a divine nature.
Now has a soul connected to him.
Now this human nature is brought into union with his divine
Thank you.
through his one person.
Thank you.
It becomes the nature of that person.
Now the body will die,
Yeah.
but now that soul will remain fused,
But
right?
I
That's
know
what
you
you're
mean by
saying?
fused, though. But well, I'm saying it's still his nature.
Okay.
It's still his. That
Okay.
soul is his soul.
Okay.
But
But it's
fused,
not a part
see,
of God.
It's not a part of his divine nature.
Gotcha.
They're always
But
distinct.
something new got connected to God, right?
But what do you mean by connected? You're acting like these are
What do
Legos.
you mean? No. You're telling me they're like Legos, right?
No, I'm
God
telling you
came
they're
in,
not.
you plug the human body and you plug the
telling
soul,
you they're not.
and then the human
And
body
that's-
falls off and the soul connects,
And that's
right?
why that's why
what
you're shooting
saying.
randomly and hitting air.
All right, well, it's nice talking to you, man.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So
David, I wish we-
now you want Sam?
I want Sam. Look, let me explain this, right?
I don't mean like
No, I don't want
you
Sam.
need this.
Listen
No,
to
I
me.
mean
Listen
like
to me. You guys are welcome anytime. We're not here to debate. We're here to give da'wah. If somebody
Didn't you
wants,
invite Christian Prince to debate and said you're willing to debate everyone?
Can I, let me finish. Let me finish, and you'll get the answer. You're doing the Anthony thing now, right, David? You were doing so good so far, right?
yeah, David. Wait a minute.
No,
I
I just-
gotta do the
I
David
thought you were
thing now.
inviting people to debate, so if you're saying you weren't doing that, then I was
Let me
just wondering.
explain, and I've said it many times, right?
Come on, David. Let him talk.
Thank you, David.
See,
Anthony,
I gotta
you,
wrap.
you get the first dub this time. I still leave you hanging.
We gotta
All
even know. We
So
gotta even know.
we are du'at. We are giving da'wah.
Yeah.
Right? If somebody wants to debate, they're more than welcome to come. You understand the difference now? Okay. So Christian princess, a prince, whatever. I'm sorry.
You got that in for the cameras.
I've said that many a time.
I know.
I have to tell Mr. Prince, if you're afraid to show your face, I can get you a little niqab. What do you think about that idea? He could put like a little scarf on, and that way he won't show his face and he can come in person like you guys.
So for the record, I have no idea why he doesn't want to be seen.
Princess,
He doesn't.
He doesn't know why you don't want to show your face.
No. Christian
You
Prince.
guys heard that
Christian Prince.
Anthony saying, why aren't you showing
Christian
your face?
Prince is. Anthony is saying I don't know Christian Prince. So
I don't know him either.
I have no idea why he doesn't want to be.
Me neither.
But that doesn't mean he's afraid.
Well, I mean, there's some reason, right? And neither one of us know.
So since neither one of us know,
you have a job, I'm sure.
Since
right?
neither one of us
What do
know,
you do?
just like you said earlier, you're not going to assert something.
You're a YouTuber. That's your job.
That's my main job.
That's your main job. You do this for money? Wow. What about you? What do you do?
I do a number of things. I am a pastor. I told you that at the start.
Cool.
I serve in prisons. That's
nice.
I'm the regional
I used to do
director
the same thing.
in South Carolina for prisons. I was converted at 18 in prison. So I've always had a love for prisoners, want to go in prisons, and I also
Careful how you say that. But all right.
and then I also have a night job where I do a lot of online.
So Christian Prince, we are together making an offer that if you would like to have a conversation like this and you don't want to show your face, I'm offering to bring you a niqab so you can cover your face, and we had a respectful nobody got hurt, nobody got beat up, nobody got fired, right? So we're making that offer to you. Nobody got fired. I mean, I work a regular job.
Not yet.
Not yet. Maybe I will. I'll take it for God. No problem. I'm not afraid.
With that said, assuming he has some reason, like maybe his job doesn't want him out there showing himself or something like that, why wouldn't it be acceptable then to debate him online or something like that?
Excellent. So the thing that happens online that we see is that somebody has a mute button, right? And what happens is, as we've, and again, I don't watch his channel, but what brothers have sent me clips and things, he just mutes them and talks over. So that doesn't really benefit. Like, you see how we had a respectful conversation? We tried to keep it in person. And look, he doesn't have to fly here. If he wants to fly, need to come somewhere, he can give me his address, no problem. I'll fly there. I'm not afraid of you coming here. He shouldn't be afraid of coming here either, right?
So let me say this on
what I'm saying is, I prefer this kind of conversation where we can have a conversation, not just mute each other and yell over each other, and somebody controls a button and somebody throws references without being here, right? This is why.
I like that. Let me say
Good.
this. Let me just say this. I think there are channels on both sides that do some of that.
Sure.
People control that's why I don't enter into some things.
I don't do Skype, I don't do Zoom.
I think there are channels where both sides have been respectable in the course of things.
Christian Prince has not.
And
you know that.
No, I don't know anything. No.
Watch the show.
No, listen to me. I haven't watched. I'm not like.
You don't watch the show?
I'm not like a big. I don't watch all sorts of things.
Have you watched the show or not?
No, I mean I've seen. Like you, I can honestly say before God, I've probably seen about as much as you have, right?
And you haven't seen much.
And I haven't
I'm not
seen
a big
much.
fan of Christian Prince.
I'm not saying anything either way. I just don't.
Gotcha.
I'm not. I don't know who the ruler is of Zamunda.
Then you wouldn't be a big fan of the ruler of Zamunda.
I know.
King Jafar.
Jafar. I'm just saying I don't know.
So what
I just don't get around
I
much.
appreciate the civil conversation. And again, we are du'at. We're giving da'wah towards the oneness of Allah. We believe Allah is one. He doesn't become two. He doesn't become three. His sifat, his self. Let me finish. Come on, Anthony, we're doing so good.
We're still doing good. This is our closing.
All right, our closing. So let me close.
Okay, you close.
I'll let you go first. You're the guest.
Oh yeah. Why don't you guys take two minutes each or something like that to close out? That work?
Oh sure.
Well, I'm
No worries. I'll let you speak.
I'll say this. I think we've gotten our major points out there.
Excellent.
We've gotten some perspective. I think we've had a pleasurable dialogue. I've enjoyed you. I've expressed some of the things that I like. I love the fact that Muslims are willing to engage. I hope that never changes, unless, of course, they become Christian. That's the ultimate goal from our perspective, just like yours is for us to become Muslim. I think that if we honestly go back and look through this, there's been a good bit of breakdown in terms of, but also clarification. But I think there's been breakdown in some of the understanding. Hopefully some clarification along the way on both sides. And I do think that we've, for the most part, established that we, from our perspectives, have an aversion to the other perspective, but there hasn't so much been an argument presenting that case against or for what have you. So, I'm not trying to make any new arguments here. I'm just summing up from my perspective. I think this was pleasurable. I think it was productive. As a human being, I've enjoyed you. Obviously, we're on different sides of the, God.
At least we both believe in God.
Yeah, that's true. And neither one of us are minimizing the serious nature of our differences, right? When I say I appreciate all these things, I'm not saying, okay, you're okay. You're not saying I'm okay, right?
I think you're okay.
But in the sense of, ultimately, both of us think the others are seriously off and have a reckoning to give.
We were going so well.
Yeah, but you know that's true. Come on.
I'll say it too.
You know it's true.
Dave.
Oh, sort of final thoughts here? I'll just give you my basic view. Muslims generally go right to Christian theology, and this doesn't make sense, that doesn't make sense, this doesn't make sense. Whereas Islam is this, easy to understand oneness and so on. My view is that when you really get into Islamic theology, you're talking about the attributes of Allah and the Quran and the nature of the Quran and the eternality of the Quran and the spirit of Allah and all these things. It seems more confusing than people are generally letting on. And my general view is just because something is confusing doesn't mean you dismiss it. Just because if you study quantum mechanics, no one gets it. They just understand that's how things work. So for me, it comes down to something we didn't actually get to here. What's true? What has God revealed? And what has He shown that He has revealed to us? And because if God said to me that Islam is true, and I would say, okay, I don't get all this stuff, but He's God and I'm not. Okay. But similarly, if God reveals that Christianity is true, then to me it just wouldn't matter if there was some aspect of Christian theology and I said, I really don't get that, or it doesn't make sense or something like that. So, but I do think it's cool when we can have conversations like this. And Anthony, Sam, we're all similar in that we're willing to escalate under certain circumstances and so on. But I think it's better if we have nice conversations. Good. That's my view.
So,
Damn, it's getting late.
Wait. I gotta finish my thing. Sorry. Wait, man.
We're just gonna give a quick final thought. And then,
all right. So
you think of a topic. I don't know.
All right. So first thing I would say, I want to appreciate you guys coming out. I want to appreciate your behavior, and I want to say that in the world that we live in, with atheism on the rise and all those kinds of things, I think Muslims, Christians, Jews have a lot in common. Right? We do believe in God, at least. We do believe there's a creator, right? And that's something to focus on. I don't think this is really like a butting head war type of situation that some people want to make it, right? I don't think we should be insulting. I think we should be having a good conversation as we've had. I believe that there is one creator. That one creator is indivisible. He doesn't become two, he doesn't become three, he doesn't become four. He has one Zat. Zat of Allah is one. Sifat don't make it different. It's part of the same Zat of Allah. I believe that one creator, He sent Moses and Abraham and Muhammad and Jesus and all of these prophets as prophets. All of them had different miracles. Some were born without a father or mother. Some were born from the rib. Some were born without a father. Some split the ocean. Some split the moon. These are miracles sent to these prophets. And they all brought the same message. The message didn't switch up that, okay, right now you need to do good deeds and then later on just believe and somebody else will die for your sins. To me, that's not from the nature of God to be unjust to a bunch of people by making them accountable for their deeds and then unjust to another people by just believing in something and no matter deeds they go to heaven. To me, that's not my belief. My belief is that there is one Allah, one creator. He reveals the Quran. He is the one that sent the prophet, and those prophets preach the same message. Believe in one creator. Don't worship idols, no statues, no symbols of statues, all those kinds of things, and follow the prophet of your time. I believe this is the time of the prophethood of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and I invite all of you to believe in the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and follow that guidance. And this is what I believe leads to heaven. Again, appreciate the time, appreciate the conversation, and you can bring Sam if you like.
Sam, we gotta break our fast. Come on.
Let me stop this real quick just to start it up again so the file's not too long. Cool.
Come on. Yeah, come on. Did he leave?
Wait, what's this supposed to be?
Huh? Take a seat if we cook.
Oh.
Yeah, we have. So, 10 minutes left.
I thought they'd be worse.
Sam.
I was waiting for these guys to
All right, how you doing? You
I
mind?
didn't know you
Should I
hung.
call you Hassan?
man. What in the
I
world?
don't know, people think I get offended when they call me Hassan. I don't know.
What do you want me to call you? I don't want to call you anything.
Call me whatever, Hassan or Sam.
Sam, pick. Pick.
Take what? I don't know what you
Pick a
guys
name that you like.
Hassan. It's okay.
Hassan. How are you, Hassan? Where are you
Good.
from?
I like this one, German buddy.
You like?
Ashuri Chaldean.
You're Chaldean.
Ashuri Chaldean. Don't speak Arabic, but I'm from born in Kuwait. Yes, I speak born in Kuwait.
You got a big community in San Diego.
Yes, you do. My cousins are there too.
Nice.
So don't tell them you met me. 1974 came to Chicago, so I didn't learn Arabic. I learned Assyrian.
Gotcha.
Just want to be clear because some people think I speak Arabic.
I
keep
speak
telling-
Arabic?
Yeah, I know you learn. But I keep telling them I don't speak, they think I'm lying.
I believe you. You don't speak
No, I
Arabic.
don't speak it. But yeah, I don't know what you guys were talking about. That's why
We
I
had a
said
big
to them-
conversation.
That's
And
why
we got like a few minutes before we have to go break
Okay,
our
but
fast.
God willing,
Yes.
I'll come back, we'll have
Anytime.
discussion, yes.
I'll tell you what.
I'm in Arizona,
Sam,
but I come up here like once a month.
tell you what. I'm inviting you in front of everybody here to break fast with me. Come to my house, eat food with me, drink tea. I have a library. We can sit down.
Because
So,
he's my right.
What time do you? What time?
We go to Arizona, I'm in Arizona.
What time are you leaving?
There's no specific time we need to leave, so if you want us to come over, we'll come over.
Whatever.
How late would it be?
Probably on 7 o'clock. We'll start dinner.
Whatever you want to
Then
do.
we'll.
He's
we'll
my
be-
right.
Sounds
But
good, sounds
I
good.
come up once a month, I promise you. Now that we understand each other, I will come up with
Okay, let me give you my number.
Yes, and here, take
And if you want them today, if you guys are heading out,
that's up to
because
you
we're gonna
guys.
get. So if we sit, we're gonna sit at least till 10 p.m. midnight. So you guys better be ready. All right, wait, let's turn the cameras off. And I don't want people. Give me a hug. All right.
We'll talk more. Hopefully, but
You guys do have time for a quick conversation, so
he said a few minutes he wants to break.
Yeah, I have to leave. I mean, we leave at 5. So.
Sure, go ahead. That's okay. We'll come back.
Come back.
He'll call me if you want to go to his house. You're the
But then we're gonna wait till around 7:30 to break the fast. So the food's gonna start. Then after food, we're gonna sit. I mean, think it through because I don't
I'll
want
have to. I'll have to check with everyone.
to check this. If you need, what time do you need to leave? What time are you?
There's no specific time we need to leave. We just need to get back to Phoenix sometime tonight.
You want to leave around midnight-ish? That's cool.
No, we'll probably leave before that. Probably come.
Then let's do it another time.
Okay. All right.
Cool?
Want to say hi to everyone? Hey, what's up, everyone?
How you doing?
How you doing?
Hammer time came and we had a good time, and we'll do it again.
Yep, we're definitely gonna do it again.
Sounds good. All right, bro.